This week on the PSPremiere Podcast, I predict the 2024 presidential elections. The president jumps out of the White House in a mech suit and he shouts, "Let's party!" Mitch describes this podcast.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
And Dory talks about Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I think for the most part, it still really holds up. It's still one of my favorite games of all time.
Hello and welcome to the 34th episode of the PSPremiere Podcast. I'm your host, James Smith. We upload a new episode of this every week, so if you like this, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast feed, and give us a rating on that app that you listen to podcasts on. I'm joined today by regulars Dory.
Hello, it's me. I'm Dory, and I go by she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Declare192. And did you know you can get $10 Dunkin' Donut gift cards for being on Pride panels? I just figured out. I wish people would pay queer folks like that more often. Anyway, that's me.
And Seb.
Happy Easter, guys. You can Sebastian, you can follow me at LittleSeb93.
Hopefully, Mitch.
Hello, I am Mitch. I'm faceless this week, unfortunately, but you can find me on Twitter, also faceless, at MitchHub1012.
And other host of the PSPremiere Podcast, Brian. How you doing?
Good, man. Good to be back. Only been a couple of days, but back in the saddle. You know, it's a little weird when Seb counted us in and you started talking, but I guess that's how it goes now.
That was weird. Yeah, so you did a wee episode, a bonus episode of our show for
a
April
wee
Fool's
2-hour episode.
and we our crew, we were on your podcast, Draft Punks. So
yeah,
which was a fun little sort of crossover, which nobody saw coming apparently.
Yeah, no, it was super fun. A lot of people woke up very confused Thursday morning, and you guys will be happy to know that that's like already like the first 2 days that did better numbers than a lot of our episodes do over the course of a week. So people were really into it and enjoyed it. So thank you for that.
That's the PS Premiere effect.
That's right.
We should take over.
But yeah, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about Draft Punks and where what it is and where they can find it?
Nah, it's okay. Yeah, so Draft Punks is a podcast we started up last August. We also do a weekly show, and we pick a different topic each week and then do sort of a fantasy football style American football snake draft where we pick from that topic. So we've done things like the best MCU movies, our favorite birds. You guys, when you came over last week, did your favorite Xbox, or in some cases, Dory, PC exclusive games. But yeah, we have a special guest on each week who's an expert in that topic. And this coming week, we're going to have Alex Stadnick from Game Informer on the show. So we're really excited about that.
Ooh.
So it's Draft Punks on all your favorite podcast apps. And then we're on Twitch, Twitter, all the social media, Real Draft Punks. So
great. So yeah, let's jump right into what we've all been playing. So Seb, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So I completed Immortals: Phoenix Rising. I've talked about this game like 3 times now on this podcast, so I'm not gonna get any details. But I would say it's my favorite Ubisoft game in a long time. I really enjoyed it. That game's always on sale. It's always half off. Definitely get it. Do yourself a favor and get it. It's so good. I also played Wolfenstein Old Blood. That's like the one Wolfenstein game I haven't played yet. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get it out of the way. And I surprisingly beat it in like a few hours. Like it was really short. I was really surprised.
What difficulty did you play on? Because that'll because I played on hard or whatever equivalent that game has, and it was not fun in certain. Okay, yeah, that's why. Because there were certain drag segments for me where I just kept dying and dying over and over again. Thankfully, the final boss I got through relatively quickly, but everything else is just not fun. But that's good. You got through it a lot quicker than I did.
Yeah, I mean, I told you like Wolfenstein 2, I had to play it on easy because I couldn't even beat it on normal.
Yeah.
I'm used to playing shooters on PC, I guess. So when it comes to a controller, I'm just not as good. I just prefer mouse and keyboard. So I've also played Killzone Shadowfall because I never played it. Like I bought it in launch and it just sat there for 8 years now.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How far through have you gotten so far?
I'm at the end. So
You're the end, right?
Yeah.
Because I've tried to play it like twice and I stopped both times like an hour in.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't I haven't taken to it.
I can see that.
I think just because the level that I keep stopping on, it's sort of like an open area where you have to like attack an enemy base, and it kind of feels like the checkpoints feel quite punishing at that stage at least. And like the enemies seem to like keep coming at you, and it feels quite deterring. Like it doesn't want you to play it.
Yeah, you're talking about the one like the woodsy waterfall area. Yeah, I got lost on that one. Like the checkpoints and stuff the waypoints were so confusing. Like I almost gave up on the game after that level. Once you get past that level, it's very like straightforward. You just follow a waypoint.
Right.
So yeah, just get past that level. You'll enjoy it more, I think. But the visuals are really impressive. I think it holds up really well. I was surprised. Like this is like a launch PS4 game. They put a lot of effort into the visuals. The city is amazing. Like the whole background and everything. Like I was blown away by that.
Yeah, I think those sort of that set of launch games for the PS4, I think that was like the last big graphical leap that we had, because like everything since then has been sort of incremental. Yeah. Even with the jump from PS4 to PS5, it's not been as big as that leap from PS3 to PS4. So like you have a lot of really good looking games like Infamous Second Son, Killzone Shadowfall, and The Order. Just at the start of that generation. Like The Order, I had played it like a year ago, and I was like blown away like how impressive it still looks. Like it still looks as good as some of the later PS4 games.
It's true. So I guess it's not surprising because they made Horizon, and Horizon was gorgeous. So Guerrilla Games just makes great games, great visual games.
Yeah.
So what else? Oh yeah. So the gameplay is like okay. It's like a standard first person shooter. It's nothing to write home about. It has like them. It has the cool melee like Doom does. You go up to the enemy, you can do a cool you like snap their neck or something like that. But that's in like pretty much every Killzone game, I think, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because the last Killzone game I played was on the Vita. I think it was called Mercenaries.
Yeah. I gave
really
that
good.
one a shot.
Yeah, it was really good. But I'm not a big Killzone fan. It's one series that just never clicked with me personally.
Yeah, the first experience I have with Killzone is playing the demo for Killzone 3. And I never bought the full game.
Yeah.
So I guess that series is just not for me. I'm much more of a Resistance guy myself in terms of Sony first-person shooters.
I've only played Resistance 3, so I'm not familiar with that series as much either. But God, if they just remastered it, I'd definitely play all the games. So I also played World War Z, which was the last 3 games I've talked about are all on PS Now, so that's where I'm playing them on. World War Z is on PS Now. I think they put it on like last month or 2 months ago. You know what? How many zombies they have on screen is very impressive. It's a lot like Days Gone. Like they put like it's kind of like the movie where they just like hundreds and hundreds of zombies climb on top of each other.
It's kind of like in that Left 4 Dead mold.
Yeah,
Whereas like
like Seb, this would be a lot more impressive if they didn't already have the 1,000 Heartless fighting Cage too. Sorry, man.
That's true.
Gotcha. Bam. Sorry. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So a good comparison is Left 4 Dead for sure. This is basically Left 4 Dead in third person. You basically you just fight a bunch of zombies, go to an objective, and then like there's crates everywhere, and you get more ammo. It's just it's nothing. It doesn't do anything amazing. It's just solid multiplayer fun with your friends. Nothing to write home about.
Does it have any kind of like narrative tie-in to the book or the movie at all, or does it just share a name?
I think it just shares the name. Honestly,
I think it ties more so in with the book, not the Brad Pitt movie from memory. Like I've got it myself for like $10 a couple months back, and honestly it kind of just solidified my opinion that I'm not really a big into those Left 4 Dead style repeat the same missions over and over again type of games.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure like it's fun with friends and all, but like there's only so much I can take of going through the same corridors over and over again.
I would say World War Z is like a nice 7 out of 10, like nice solid game. It's on PS Now, which you can get for $1 right now, I think. I don't know if they're still doing that. So if you want to try it out, just to do it that way. I wouldn't recommend paying full price for this. No.
Wasn't it on PlayStation Plus at some point?
Maybe
It was discounted.
discounted. Yeah, I don't remember
It
being
was
discounted.
discounted. How I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I might be confusing it with the fact that it was on Epic Game Store.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it away for free on PlayStation Plus at some point.
Yeah.
It is very much the definition of a PlayStation Plus for a game. Like it's
Yes.
the definition.
It's on Game Pass, I believe, right? Anyone know? No.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It
This
is.
is a service game. Like this should be on a stream, like a service.
I'll still tell y'all what's the definition of a PS Plus game. Fucking Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Most
I agree.
It's just most basic ass 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 game ever. Maybe worse, probably worse.
I know people that paid $60 for that game.
No,
Silently judge them.
please cry. Yes,
A moment of silence.
Absolutely.
No. So I also I'm playing right now Bayonetta on the PS4 because I have the Bayonetta Vanquish collection. I never played Vanquish. I think that's what it's called, right? Or
Vanquish.
Vanquish. Yeah.
Have you played? Have you tried Vanquish yet, or just Bayonetta?
no, I haven't got there yet. I'm gonna beat Bayonetta first.
I'm interested to talk with you about Vanquish because I have some thoughts about that game, about the hour of it that I played.
Okay.
Some hot takes, you mean?
Some very hot takes.
Ooh.
Bayonetta is a lot like Devil May Cry. It's over the top action. Same kind of gameplay. It's still fun as ever, honestly. I don't know if it's on PS4, but I don't know if like they really improved the visuals or it's a little better, but nothing like jumps out at me. It looks like an old game, but but the gameplay is great, and gameplay is king, so that's all that matters. And the last thing I'm playing is BioShock 2. I actually never played BioShock 2. The first game is a masterpiece, so this game hasn't reached that level yet, but it's still really good, honestly. Gameplay's pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one hot take I have with the BioShock series is that I think the gameplay in 2 is infinitely better. Well, pretty much like gameplay systems all around are better than the first one.
Yeah, I agree
the
with
story the story is, I think, in 2's definitely doesn't reach the same peaks as 1, but like I still respect at least what they did. Like, it wasn't anything great, but it's commendable for.
I just want to point out that Mitch said infinitely better, and I'm gonna point that out.
I didn't even intend for that.
So I actually never played BioShock Infinite, so I'm gonna get to that eventually.
Oh, I really like Infinite.
I'm interested to see what you think of that, honestly. And
Yeah,
the
sure.
DLC.
I love Infinite. That's my favorite in the series. So
Wow.
That is the only one I've played in the series. I remember enjoying it though. I
okay.
played it when it came out.
BioShock?
No,
Yeah, BioShock
Infinite.
Infinite.
Oh, you played the
the-
first one. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
Everyone
collection
keeps
was
saying
on-
that.
Because it is.
it is.
I mean, it's really good, James. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but it is really good, and it's really worth playing.
It definitely is. I mean, it may be dated
Sorry,
now.
final boss, though, Seb. How can you defend that final boss?
That's
That
true.
final boss.
I'll give you that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Be always.
The whole
I played it
collection-
twice, Seb. I know a few things about BioShock that just don't work in review in retrospect.
Yeah, it's an old game. There's
Yeah,
that.
for sure. It's
Yeah.
still really great. You should play it. Everybody should play it.
Yeah.
Well, the story and the themes they
Yes.
still hold up. They're just
Yes,
phenomenal.
I agree.
Yeah. And so that's about it. Yep. So I played six games this week.
Cool. That's 6 more than me. Dory, what have you been playing? And please don't say Carry On again.
I will not say Carrion, I guess. But that is one of the games I've been playing. So rude.
You talk about it
I'm only
every
going to
week.
talk about it like really briefly.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that I've been having some like frustration with sort of there. So there's just this section that I've been playing that I wanted to talk about really quickly. So basically, they take away a lot of your powers. They make you smaller and stuff, and then you have to take on these really tough enemies. And it just got me frustrated with games that take away your powers and don't do it for like story reasons, or don't make it optional, or don't make it fun. Like here, it's not really fun. It just feels like the devs are like, look how smart we are for taking away certain powers that you have and making you fight these really tough enemies, and now you have to think really strategically. And I'm like, well, no. It just makes me sweat a lot, and now I'm really worried that I'm going to die, and I'm not going to come back to a save point because you spread out the save points way too much. Okay, so that's all I have to say about Carry On, James, okay? Good? Okay.
Hang on. Did you want butter on your potato?
Yes, James, I wanted butter on my goddamn potato.
So, Dory, how is it?
No one's going to understand that.
So I want to hear more about Carrion. Can you go in more detail, please?
Thanks. Really appreciate it. Now she's upset. So thanks everybody. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Carrion, I'm kind of just wanting it to be over. I'm kind of done over the central conceit of the game, which is that you are a monster chasing other people because you don't feel like a monster half the time. Most of the guns just shred your HP. And so it's just, it's not as fun as I was hoping it would be. It's still a decent game. I would still try it for yourself. You might like it more than I do, especially if you enjoy the thing.
So to sum up, you're a monster.
I am a monster. Yep, I've been told that before, so that checks out.
I think James wants it over too.
I've been playing 2 other games. I've talked about them in previous weeks, so I'll keep it brief. I played Lost Legacy this week, and I am not having a good time. There's this puzzle with shadows that I really hated, that I just found incredibly annoying. And I looked up a guide, and my friend Chris helped me from Hello Hyrule, and it still took me 30 minutes to figure that damn puzzle out. It's like those shadow puzzles in Resident Evil 7. If Kim had been there, she would have been able to do it in 5 seconds, but I couldn't fricking figure it out at all. And then there was this chase sequence where an APC is chasing you. These are minor, vague spoilers, but basically an APC is chasing you, and you have to run away as fast as you can. It's basic Uncharted stuff. But I just kept dying over and over, not knowing where I was going, trying to fight back, getting killed. It was incredibly frustrating. And then on top of that, there is this combat section where you have to fight more APCs and really tough enemies that are armored and have shotguns and stuff. And I just had some issues with the movement. Like I couldn't jump off of it wasn't a big building. So when I say jump off a building, I don't mean like Empire State Building. I mean like jump off like whatever. And they would just keep clutching at the ledge, and so they wouldn't actually jump off, and so I couldn't get away from enemies, so I kept dying. So I don't know. I still think the graphics and the writing and the voice acting are great, but I just feel like this is an extended DLC that didn't need to exist, that is just kind of rehashing Uncharted 4, but not as good, which is weird. And I don't like that. I don't want to have this opinion, so I'm hoping that when I play more of it tomorrow, I will turn around on it and I will start liking it more, because I do not want to feel this way. I'm very upset that I'm not enjoying it, which is kind of its own vicious cycle, right?
Yeah. We can't all have good taste, so it's okay.
It's fine.
No, it's all right. No, I can understand that. That game is not the game does have some rough moments that I don't look forward to when I play it.
It's interesting. Like I might have mentioned this on a prior podcast, but it's one of them games. Like I remember loving it at the time when I played it, but I don't have much of a memory of it. Well, I'm not sure what that says for the game. I just don't remember it very well.
I don't remember it very well either, to be honest with you. Like I remember loving it when I was playing it, but that could just be like, so long ago that maybe at the time I didn't love it as much as I think I loved it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also don't really enjoy the open worlds. We talked about this last week, but
yeah,
open world segments I haven't really enjoyed. I've appreciated the narrow segments. I think the best thing about this game for me is Chloe and Nadine's like relationship and their dialogue. I could just listen to them talk. Like they had this small conversation where they were talking about where they wanted to go after this, in the world. And like, Chloe was talking about her favorite part of being a thief, or whatever you want to call her, is like traveling the world. Like the travel is the best perk, which totally makes sense. And then they just had a brief conversation about like, where do they want to go after this job is over? And I'm like, I kind of just want this. Like, this is kind of just what I want the game to be. Honestly, just give me an Uncharted Lost Legacy movie, or maybe not a movie, but something that's more cinematic in nature as opposed to this, because I just haven't been enjoying it. And maybe it's burnout because I played Uncharted 4 and Shadow of the Tomb Raider so close together, plus this. But hey, I put it to a vote, and people said this over Ratchet and Clank, so it's not my fault. Obviously, I have no free will once democracy takes hold.
I won't lie, I voted for Lost Legacy, so yeah.
I probably would have gone with Ratchet and Clank, to be honest, out of the two.
Yeah.
Well, that's just me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So I've also been playing Telltale Batman, again, real brief, because brought it up before, but I still really like the story, and the writing and stuff like that. I've definitely felt like really bad about certain choices I've made and really good about choices I've made. So I guess Telltale's doing a good job, but then they'll also have certain choices you make where it's like, that wasn't a choice at all, or like that didn't matter at all, or like there's certain things I'm remembering when I'm playing, like a certain thing happens to a certain character. I won't go into spoilers, but basically something awful happens to a character, and even if you prevent that from happening, I remember that basically the character still kind of becomes the same person. It's just handled slightly differently, right? It's like getting the same ice cream, but one's with like sprinkles and one's with, anyway, I don't know what I'm doing with this metaphor.
Yeah, so like essentially that in those Telltale games, like the X character will remember this thing only applies about like 50% of the time, right? I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's somewhat true. There are definitely sometimes there are callbacks from characters where they'll say, "Oh, you did X and Y in previous episodes or previous things." I also want to mention that there's a character in there named Roland, and I just I laughed a lot because for people who don't know, Brian's Discord name is Roland. It was just very funny. I was like, Roland, what happened to you? And and then you crushed my skull, Roland. So that really sucked.
Excellent. That sounds like me.
That was my first. That was my first death. So it was a deathless run up till then. Thanks.
I just wanted to say I've been enjoying watching the streams and doing the group play feature. It's a little tough to participate because of the latency with Twitch, but when it does work, it's been super fun, like being able to vote on the dialogue choices and the actions and stuff. So
and latency can actually make it like more chaotic and fun because sometimes you'll just type out randomly, like subs will just type out randomly. And yesterday, him and somebody else, somebody had like a character, and like with a gun or whatever to their head, and you had a couple different results, and I was, mine was like, let him go, and a couple people just picked randomly for chaos, and they picked go ahead, do it, and it won. And it didn't do it, thankfully, because it's a Telltale game and that's not how it works, but it was still very funny in the moment. Anyway, that is what I've been playing.
Great. Brian, have you been playing anything this week that you fancy talking about?
Yeah. So I was just here a few days ago and we talked a lot about Dead by Daylight and Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tassos. I've still been playing both of those, but since folks just heard about that, I was going to bring up another smaller indie game that I've really been enjoying that also happens to be on PlayStation, because I guess we got it wrong a few days ago. We didn't realize this is a PlayStation podcast. So Wintermore Tactics Club, which is available on most systems. I've been playing it on Steam, but it is available on PS4. And if you like sort of those tactics style RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics, Fate Tactics, things like that, it's just like a super cute, super fun sort of take on D&D and Final Fantasy. It's set in like a a fantasy high school, and the principal at the school has decided that all of the clubs have to compete in a snowball tournament in order to decide who's the best club. It's a very silly premise, but essentially you are playing as the like D&D club at the school. They have another name for it. I think it's called Curses and Catacombs, so it's C&C. But they decide, we're going to apply what we know about tactics from playing this game to the snowball fights so that we can beat, the equestrian club and the football team and all these other clubs that pop up. There's like the historical reenactment club. They get very silly, but there's also like this darker story going on underneath with like a curse related to the creator of the C&C game. So it's been super fun, and it's not super difficult. Like I've never had to restart a fight or anything. I've never lost a fight in like the 8 to 10 hours or so I've put into it. But it's challenging enough that it's like keeping me engaged and enjoying the story. So if you like that type of game, it's definitely worth checking out.
That sounds very interesting.
Is this like a JRPG or is it?
No, it's. I think it's Western. I don't remember the name of the studio that developed it. Let me look it up real quick. I think it's Versus Evil. Maybe is the name of the studio.
Okay.
Yeah, but they've put out a couple of small indie games, and I saw this first on. I think Kim Wallace from Game Informer was streaming it for a night or two, and I was like, oh, that looks cool, and I've picked it up, and I had to like stop watching her stream it because I didn't want to get spoiled on the story because I was enjoying it so much. But yeah, it's really cute. It made me think a lot of, if you have played those Final Fantasy Tactics games, the one that came out on handheld, where like the first mission, the tutorial mission, was like a snowball fight. It feels kind of like they took that and like turned it into a full game. So
as a tactics game about snowball fights.
Yeah, and there's kind of two campaigns going on at once. There's the snowball fights against the other clubs, and then they're also doing like their own C&C campaign at their own club. So there's like the fantasy storyline going there, and then there's also the like snowball fight storyline going on at the same time. And the C&C stuff is really cute. It reminds me of playing those games as a kid, because sometimes you'll get to a fight and it'll pop up and it'll be a totally different setting and fight from the previous one, but it will look very similar, and the characters will remark on that. They'll be like, well, these look like the same guys we were just fighting, and the dungeon master will just be like, well, yeah, it's because these are all the pieces I have. So it's like very reminiscent of like using a pawn from a chess game as like a stand-in for a monster. So
I love this. This sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's really cute and really cool. So
great. What was the name of that one
called? Yeah,
Wintermoor Tactics Club.
Wintermoor Tactics Club. Great. Okay, so that's everything you've been playing.
Yeah, everything I didn't talk about a few days ago.
Right. So yeah, Mitch, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
I've thankfully I've managed to get through a few games on my backlog these past couple of weeks. The first game I've completed is Resident Evil 4,
the sequel to the worst game ever made.
I mean, I remember a few people loving the OG Resident Evil 3, so I'm not sure what you're on about there.
Yeah,
James. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mitch.
No.
Anyway.
But yes, so I completed Resident Evil 4. I don't think I'm as hot on it as a lot of people seem to be. Like, I still think it's a really good game, but I hear people calling it one of the greatest games of all time, and I'm like,
no, it is the greatest game of all time.
I believe it is Seb's favorite game of all time.
It is the greatest game of all time. I beat it 20 times.
I think
Jesus.
I the thing is, Mitch.
I was bad with Kingdom Hearts too.
I reckon.
That game.
I reckon it's because of the fact that you played it now and it's 15 or 16 years
absolutely.
Old. So
I'm
18.
You know. What? Oh wait, the game is 15 or 16 years old. Yeah, no, I was going to say.
What do you think I said?
I thought you said that I'm 15 or 16 years old. I'm like, James.
Not much difference though. I mean, this game's barely younger than you, so.
But no, I think for a 16-year-old game, it still holds up pretty well cinematically speaking, at least. Like you can definitely tell how this influenced a lot of future games to come.
Yeah.
Especially in its gameplay. I'm surprised by how much fun I had with it, which it's weird to say with a Resident Evil game, but oh well. The big issue I found with it though was just at its runtime. It was just way too bloated for 15, 16 hours. I think it took. No, I think it took me about 14 and 15 hours, and by about the 10-hour mark, I was just kind of thinking, okay, I just want this to end now. Like it's going on a bit too long, at least for my sakes. Dory's sort of shaking her head disapprovingly. I see, or
I replayed this recently. I haven't logged in the hours that the absolute mad lad Seb has in this game, but I have played it on the PS2, the GameCube. I think the GameCube, the Wii, and now the PS4. So I played on 4 different consoles. I mean, I'm a little bit less. I'm a little bit cooler on it than I used to be, but I still agree with Seb. Well, he thinks it's the best game of all time. I definitely agree. It is one of the best games of all time. There's almost nothing better than it. It does take a little bit to get used to the combat, and I agree that there are some sections that drag a little bit. But the fact that they made an extended escort mission the core of this game, and it's still even halfway decent, makes it 10 out of 10. I don't know how the fuck Capcom made an extended fucking rescue escort mission, which is the worst thing in video games, generally speaking, because it just makes everything annoying.
Except for Resident Evil 3. The worst thing in video games, except for Resident Evil 3.
Lord, give me the strength. Give me the strength.
I'd tie it back into an earlier game we were talking about, too, and just warn Seb right now that Bioshock Infinite, the whole second half of that game, has a little bit of escort mission vibe to it, but that's also one where they handle it really well, I think, because Elizabeth, who you're escorting, is actually helpful.
I honestly don't even consider Infinite that much of an escort mission, just because she seems to have an equal hand in sort of advancing the story. I mean, there are some escort elements in trying to protect her and whatnot, but she can hold off on her own.
Isn't
ammo? She gives you ammo too.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
Isn't the thing that people don't like about escort missions the fact that you have the person you're escorting can die?
Right.
I think the thing in Resident Evil 4, the reason some people didn't like it is just because Ashley just wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Well, wait, so Mitch, you're telling me that Leon, help! Help!
There are those. Those segments where you just have to figure out where the hell she is and how to get her out, and she just keeps repeating that. I had to mute it. Not even. I had to mute the TV just because I could not. It is usually I'm pretty resilient when it comes to stuff like that in games, but this just, Jesus Christ! I actually had to mute the TV.
My other problem with escort missions, and I almost mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it now, is I think it generally, and this is a generalization, obviously, it kind of demoralizes both the person who's escorting and the escortee. Ashley just comes off as a complete nuns in that game. She seems like the most incompetent person of all time, and Leon is made to look completely incompetent too, because she's just constantly getting captured. Spoilers, I guess.
No.
And he just keeps letting it happen, and it's so it makes both of them look worse because the escort, but the gameplay is so good, and I love the story so much that I'm willing to look over it. Plus, there are times where you can hide her in a dumpster, so I guess it's fine. But
get in the trash, Ashley.
For a lot of the game, you can just hide her in places, so it's not exactly
No,
difficult.
it's not. It's that, like I said, they turn the core conceit of RE4 is an escort mission or an extended one, and they somehow made it work into a very good game, which I think is incredible. I think most games wouldn't even come close to how good RE4 is.
I'm because before, and I'm sort of still the same now. I'm halfway interested in, because a Resident Evil 4 remake's kind of inevitable at this point, right?
Unfortunately,
agree?
I guess.
Yeah. I'm kind of like with morbid interest wondering what the hell they'll do to the story and how they'll modernize it, because there are definitely some aspects of this game that could use some modernizing, but
I would appreciate if Lewis didn't come through the door and said that the president of the United States armed his daughter with a set of ballistas. That would be very nice if he didn't say that.
I hope they keep the line. I hope they keep the cheesy action lines in.
Yeah,
those are
do too.
iconic. Those are
Yeah,
iconic to me. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like I think also it'll be really like it'll kind of really depend on which voice actor they go for Leon, because if they go for the Resident Evil 2 remake Leon, I can't imagine him pulling off the cheesiness as much. But if they get
right?
Matthew, yeah, exactly. If they get Matthew Mercer back, then I can see him pulling it off a lot better.
Rain or shine, you're going down. No thanks, bro. Where's everybody going? Bingo? No. Okay.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I haven't played any of those later Resident Evil games, but you guys are really reminding me of Metal Wolf Chaos. If you ever played that.
Metal Wolf Chaos XD, the sequel to Disney XD, right?
Exactly. There's just if anyone's unfamiliar with Metal Wolf Chaos, there's a scene at the start of that game where the president jumps out of the White House in a mech suit and he shouts, "Let's party!"
What the fuck?
So
it's just the best thing ever.
It's just Metal Gear Revengeance, but with more partying.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The name of that game too sounds like they just ran it through like an online generator, like badass video game title. Just came with Metal Wolf Chaos.
XD.
It's without a doubt FromSoft's best game.
It's the toughest Souls-like game of all time.
Yep.
What else have you been playing, Mitch?
The other game I've been playing and have beaten is Rise of the Tomb Raider, the sequel to the hit, probably overrated Tomb Raider 2013, and the prequel to the much beloved by Seb and Dory Shadow of the Tomb Raider that came out in whatever year it came out in. So I think, it's goes without saying, but this is much better than the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot, and I'm assuming it's going to be better than Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The story to this game doesn't really have any depth at all to it, though. It's very forgettable. I don't remember anything about it. But the villains were at least halfway interesting, so it's got that going for them. There's been a few gameplay improvements, which was really nice, but I think the main thing that stuck out to me, which I'm not going to spoil, but the final act or the final area was probably the highlight of the game for me, just because the actual location of it and where it is just so visually stunning that I'm just like, I'm gonna keep playing just because this looks, nice as hell.
Hey, Mitch, sorry, I do have a
Yep.
question for you. To interrupt real quick, you weren't very hot on the first game, is that right?
No, I wasn't. I think if you just told me to sort of review the first two acts of the game, I'd say, yeah, sure, like 7.5 out of 10. But then you get to the third act, which thankfully this game doesn't have any real pacing issues either, thankfully. But the third act just dragged, and the story was not good at all, and it didn't live up to any of the promises it really set out to achieve. Like, it's gonna tell this dark story of the origin of Lara Croft, even though after about 15 minutes she just starts killing everyone without any issue at all.
My question then being, why continue?
Because I had the whole trilogy, and I'm like, something to keep playing through. I mean, I guess I'm kind of just continuing out of like morbid interest and just sort of really just seeing where the series goes. Like, I don't have that much of a personal investment into the story or characters, but like I'll just keep play through the games, and eventually I'll have some form of opinion on all three of them.
The story and the characters were definitely the weakest part of the trilogy. Like I don't think not a single game to me, like in terms of the story.
Like who cares about Trinity? They're one of the least interesting villains. I thought their leader had a semi-interesting backstory, but it just gets washed out by terrible gameplay. And sorry, I'm going on a rant about Shadow of the Tomb Raider again. Anyway,
okay. Have you played Rise of the Tomb Raider, Dory? Or
I haven't, and I almost want to because of even though I think you're silly for this, for the same reason, I almost want to check out 2 for morbid curiosity's sake, because people keep telling me it's the best in the trilogy.
I'm gonna go out on a limb already and say it's probably the best out of the trilogy. Like
but that's like a 7 out of 10, dude. So what does that really mean?
Honestly, I'd give Shadow like a 7.5 or an 8. Honestly, if I'm having a good day.
I thought people were way hotter on these games.
Me too. Honestly, I think.
Well, to be fair, go ahead, Mitch. Yeah. I was gonna say, to be fair, Shadow of the Tomb Raider was like an exclusive to Xbox for a while, so people were kind of really hyping it up at the time.
So you're saying is that there's a bias here because we're a PlayStation podcast.
Yes. No, I'm saying people definitely hyped that game up when it came out. No, that's exactly what happened.
I think not to mention that like the Tomb Raider reboot came out like at the peak of the time where games were trying to be like, like it came out in the same year as BioShock Infinite and The Last of Us. So like, people were very much on the bandwagon of, games need to have, a real in-depth story and characters, even though Tomb Raider didn't deliver on any of those at all, really. But yeah, like I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Rise is the best in the trilogy already. I haven't even played Shadow yet, but I just kind of figured.
I think 2013 is better, honestly. I don't think I remember anything about Rise since I played it. Like I don't remember. Only thing I remember is like snow and like you can craft things. That's all I remember.
What I remember is getting cheated by the demo. Where I played the demo, thought it was a great game, and then bought it to realize that the rest of the game was nothing like the demo part.
What demo part did you play?
The demo is like the opening to the game, which is very linear and very Uncharted like. But then like everything immediately after the demo stops is more sort of open world, sort of survivalist, scavenging, crafting, that kind of thing.
So yes, I've finally managed to complete Ghost of Tsushima. Tsushima, however you pronounce it. I'm kind of with James. I didn't care for the story really at all. Or at least the main Khan plot. The stuff with the uncle. Dory's nodding, sort of looking very disapprovingly at me. But
cut the Patreon.
The Jin's story and his story with his uncle, great. That stuff is great. But I did not care for the Mongol invasion plot at all, really. But I guess, all of that stuff that is sort of there just to serve Jin's, story arc. So I guess that's fine in the end.
Like there were some good parts to the story, like you mentioned, but I think overall it fell kind of flat for me.
I want to say I'm a bit hotter on it than you are, but that's just because like I really enjoyed Jin's story arc, and I think I'm not going to spoil it, but like there's a certain interaction that happens in the very last level of the game with a peasant, and that kind of just
I think the thing is, let me interject while Mitch's internet annoys everyone. The thing for me, I think I'm a little more negative vocally about the game, but I didn't dislike it. Like I enjoyed playing through it. I just it didn't do anything sort of interesting, particularly interesting to me. Like it was very it felt quite run of the mill.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think like as I said, I think I'm a bit hotter on the story than you are, but like I can definitely see where you're coming from and agree in that respect. The one thing I cannot, not that I can't stand with this game, but the biggest issue I have with this game is that there is just too much side content. There is just a lot of filler side missions that really don't need to be there. Like, I think if the game just had the character side mission story arcs and the mythical tales, that would have been fine. But then they've got a bunch of really boring, really inconsequential side missions with like random characters that kind of just feel like padding to get to 100% completion. I don't know, that might just be me though. And I mean, the rest of the open world stuff, like the bases and stuff, again, isn't that interesting, but I appreciate at least the thought and attention to detail, I guess, paid in some of the extra activities, like the haikus and the bamboo strikes and whatnot. I think those are probably the highlight of the side content of the game.
Yeah.
I think it is what it is just the genre. Like open world games are just like that.
This game's way too bloated for what it really needs to be.
It didn't bother me as much because I just love the aesthetic so much. Like I couldn't put this game down, so it didn't bother me as much as it would in any other game. You know what I mean?
It didn't affect me because I'm not a completionist, so I generally speaking. So I just kind of did what I wanted, and then I left the rest alone.
I'm not like I don't know if I'm a completionist, but I do have a tendency in these kind of games to try and clear everything off the map.
Same.
But with this one, I did try to do that, but I gave up so quickly because there's an overwhelming amount of stuff, and it starts to feel like chores.
I mean, I got the platinum, so you had 100% everything, and it wasn't as bad as like other open world games I played. So I'm not a completionist, so it wasn't that like you guys are not wrong, but I didn't think it was as bad as other games I've played either. So
yeah. I don't know. I think the thing that really annoys me though, like with trophies, is when you have that overall percentage like counter of what trophies you have. So and like when games like this where they add additional trophies post launch. So even if you have like 100% of the main trophies and get the platinum, you're still not going to have 100% completion unless you complete New Game Plus and complete all of the legends. Is that the extra game mode? The legend stuff? Like, it's...
Yeah, I hate that. And Sony does that a lot. Like, all their exclusives. Like, they take away your 100%. Like, Days Gone, Spider-Man, I don't know if The Last of Us does that, but it's ridiculous.
It's just annoying, and it's just a mess of menus and UI, and not fun.
It's never annoyed me so much because you get to keep the platinum.
Yeah, but
you get to keep the platinum, but like, there's nothing better than seeing that like nice, clean 100% on the the menu. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me. Technical issues and all. That is me.
Great. Now, Dory, you have been playing Disco Elysium, the final cut?
Yes, I've been playing Disco Elysium, the final cut. I have played about 4.5 hours of it. I got really lucky because on the day that I wanted to play it, which was the day after it came out, class of mine got canceled, so I just got to sit and bask in it for hours. It is still an incredible game. There's a couple of small issues. I'll get it right out of the way. It's not fully voice acted like they advertised, unless I'm just having problems on my console. I don't know. But there are a couple of characters, and it's not a big deal because they're really small characters, so I understand if they cut corners here. They only have like a couple of lines, but they're not voice acted, so I'm just saying that's the full voice acting thing, not true. And sometimes, every once in a blue moon, major characters seem to not do voice acting, or it'll take them a couple of seconds and then Kim will say something incredible and BAFTA award winning. But then, I don't know. It's weird because it'll take the VO like a couple of seconds to come in, and I'll be kind of like, just be like, all right, when's Kim coming in with the empathy? So yeah, anyway, I have been playing basically like a sorry cop like I did last time. I'm kind of, I don't know. The politics in this game are difficult for me because I kind of want to be a communist cop, but the way that the game frames communism, I don't necessarily agree with. And so I just kind of end up being like, at least in this playthrough, like a mysterious fourth position. But then that just sounds bad. So I just, it's just like, doesn't really work out for me politically in this game, but they have added political vision quests, I'm very excited. That's probably why I'm eventually going to say, yeah, let's build up the communism machine.
So I think there was a bit of confusion, definitely on my part,
Yeah.
before the final cut was released about these political missions and what they actually were. Do you have
Sure.
any more insight on that?
I don't have a ton because they're basically added to towards the end of the game. It's only really after you've done a ton of exploring and your politics are really cemented in the game system that they'll do the vision quest. So I don't have a ton to say except that expect it in the back half of the game. And they, I believe, introduced not only new characters and new dialogue, but new environments as well. So that's what I think you should expect. I haven't, again, like I said, I haven't gotten to it, and I think I've only just gotten the idea. So I guess I should back up a little bit. If you don't know what Disco Elysium is, it's a computer role-playing game. It's kind of like in the vein of Planetscape or like one of those really old school text RPGs where there's a lot of reading. But luckily, there's a lot of voice acting now. Most lines are voice acted, and it has led to a couple of problems. So like one of the minor characters, Kuno, is now voiced by a different voice actor, and I really don't care for him as much as I cared for the old voice actor. I also don't understand why they changed it because the old voice actor was perfect. Like he was the really annoying, shrill voiced adolescent who you just hated to love or loved to hate or something. This new one sounds like a bad imitation, and I don't really care for it. There's a couple of other new voice actors they got because they wanted everything to be professional. And most of the changes are okay or not very noticeable. But Kuno is tough to stomach for me because he has a very iconic voice in the original, and they've just kind of taken that away, which sucks. But it's not a huge deal. I'd say the only other major criticism I have is the load times. To go into a given environment, it takes about 36 seconds, 40 seconds, I counted. And on PC, it takes about 16 seconds, 20 seconds. I don't know why. It was much faster on my game. It was like half the speed on my gaming laptop. So I don't know if my laptop is just better or if it's optimized for PC as opposed to PS4. The control scheme is intuitive for the most part. Like there's some times where I'll select something to investigate, and if I don't like press up and then X and then don't press anything else, then it'll cancel it out. So that it's a little finicky, but it works. It's fine. Yeah, I think for the most part, it still really, really holds up. It's still one of my favorite games of all time. One of the best games of 2019 slash 2021 now. I'm really excited to see these political vision quests, and I'm really excited to see if they change any other voices down the line and how that sounds. I haven't noticed any big graphics increase. What's up?
Do you think this should be eligible for Game of the Year in 2021?
It does add new content, so and technically they've added, I mean, nearly a million words in terms of voice acting, so it's arguable. I wouldn't fight for it super hard, but I think it could for sure. It depends on how loose you want to get, but I think it could. It's basically like, you know, if the director's cut of a given movie would count for the best movie of the year discussion, right? I mean, I think so. It adds new content. It's not just the same thing. But with prettier visuals. They've literally added new things. I mean, they've added a lot, technically.
Does this game have like a big audience?
I mean, yeah, it's a lot bigger of an audience than I think the studio ZAUM, I don't know how to ZOM, was predicting. Obviously winning at the Game Awards also like probably tripled their audience or something like that, or doubled it. It's got a pretty big audience. I think a lot of people have been wanting a CRPG that's not combat heavy. And if that's what you want out of your CRPGs, Disco Elysium is that, because there is almost no combat in this game. But when there is combat, it is A, incredibly tense, B, incredibly good, and C, your choices actually matter. They matter a hell of a lot, which you can't really say as much for other games that have tried to handle choice-based stuff. So I've generally felt like my choices matter in Disco Elysium a lot more than Outer Worlds or Telltale games or stuff like that. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm just saying I think it's some of the best choice-based stuff we've seen in gaming.
So, do you use like a cursor to pick choices, or like is it better with a mouse compared to a controller? How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mouse is slightly cleaner to use or better to use, but I don't think it's a huge difference. You just use the analog stick basically to move around the little select icon. And like I said, if you're not careful, it can get a little finicky, and like, you know, your detective guy will walk over to a certain thing, and he'll investigate whatever it is, but he'll like stop short, or he won't quite investigate it. It's like I said, a little iffy sometimes. But as long as you just press up, press X, leave the control alone, it's fine.
Now, I have one quick question for you, Dory. So, you know, what is the sort of drug content and like sort of themes about that, like in this game? Because, you know, as the Australian government has decreed, and you know, as you know, we're never at fault, but as the Australian government has decreed that there's just too much drug content in this game, even for adults. You know, like if this game comes out, it'll absolutely destroy the adult population. I think. What?
I think they used the word anarchy in there somewhere.
Yeah, probably. Wouldn't be surprised.
So in all seriousness, there is a lot of discussion of drugs in this game, but almost unanimously the game makes it clear. First off, every time you take drugs, you increase one stat, but you decrease another in turn. So it always tells you that it's a trade-off. Number two,
which I don't know how they can. Yeah. But anyways, keep going.
Well, and two, you can go to a shop and buy certain drugs and alcohol, but the lady at the front literally says she is obligated to tell you that drinking excess alcohol or taking too many pills and stuff like that is not good for your health, and she does not recommend it. And the whole this is the part that blows my mind. The whole game is about how alcoholism is bad. The whole game, that's literally one of the major points of Disco Elysium, is how bad alcoholism is to your brain. I mean, like, this isn't spoilers, this is the beginning of the game, but he literally gets so drunk one night, he just obliterates his consciousness, and then he comes back and he's a clean slate for you to, you know, put in all your opinions and all that stuff. And so the game is predicated on alcohol not being a good thing in excess. It just baffles me.
You know, Dory, but you know, we've just haven't had like a quick 15-minute look at it, and our studies have showed that, you know, it's the game says alcoholism is good, so therefore you're wrong, and therefore we're going to ban it for everyone.
Oh, damn. I guess that sucks for people who live in Australia, huh, Mitch?
Yeah, no. Look, the funny thing is, though, in all seriousness, so before the 30th, I actually bought Disco Elysium on sale for like $40, and I still have it in my library, and it's still coming up with the Final Cut update, so I have no idea what the hell's going on.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, so
you can play the Final Cut.
That's the thing, I haven't played it yet, but like it's coming up like with the menu saying Disco Elysium, the Final Cut. So I don't know if that's just like the store page that's come up with it on Steam or whatever, but as of right now, I have Disco Elysium installed on my laptop at least, so fingers crossed that I can actually play through it and actually enjoy it.
According to this article,
in the future.
It says Disco Elysium, the Final Cut, available in Australia on PC ban. So apparently they didn't.
Okay, so it's just the consoles that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, studies have shown, Mitch, that the youth can have their minds corrupted 2% more on consoles as opposed to PC. So I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're gonna have anarchy in Australia. You're gonna see Mitch dancing like the Joker, because we live in we live in a society.
I'm just gonna have to do the Joaquin Phoenix Joker dance in the bathroom with the creepy violin music and whatnot.
Video games does too.
Hate this. Yep. Anyway, my impressions are very positive. I'd recommend anybody who enjoys a good RPG to check Disco Elysium, the Final Cut out. Like I said, I don't know that it's fully voice acted like they promised, but it is just about nigh fully voice acted, which is impressive enough for me, because there's over 1 million words. So I'm okay if there's a couple of small characters here and there who don't have the few lines that they actually have. I've got no real big criticisms of it so far. It's the same game I loved, but just better. So I mean,
Right.
a 10.5 out of 10. I don't
know. So how long is it overall? Like, is it like a really long RPG or
it's not super long. So I played it 1.5 times, and I have under 38 hours on my total time. It takes about, well, actually, funnily enough, I think it takes about like what it would take to beat like Cage 1 or Cage 2. It's like 25, 27 hours, maybe less. It just depends on how many days in which you beat it, because you can go for as long as a whole week without in game time. I mean, without finishing the main story. If you're really slow and methodical and thorough, I think my first attempt I got to day 5 or 6, which is pretty average for your first attempt. And so it all comes down to that.
So what's like the maximum time you can get like put into that game? Can you put like 200 hours in that game, or is it is it linear?
No, it's pretty linear. I mean, I say linear, but I mean, like, you know, Revachol is pretty damn big, and there's a lot of people to interact with and a lot of things to look at. But so it's kind of like being in one building, but that building is incredibly massive, and it's so thoroughly filled with things that you want to do that it feels like you're in an open world game, but you're not. So I think it's the best of both worlds, personally. You know, I'm really obviously I feel very positive about this game.
Go ahead.
Right, so that's Disco Elysium, the final cut, and undoubtedly thanks to Mitch's internet, not the final cut of this podcast.
Yes.
Now, this week, I've been playing It Takes Two. Dory, you've also been playing It Takes Two. And Brian, you've also been playing It Takes Two. I was playing it with my friend who I didn't invite, who's not on the podcast because I didn't invite him. Brian, who have you been playing It Takes Two with?
I've been playing with my wife, Mikkel, who's sitting here next to me.
Hi.
Hello. Have you guys got any thoughts on It Takes Two? How much have you played of it?
So we've played the first couple hours. If you're breaking it into levels, I'd say we are like at the start of like the 3rd level. So we got through the opening section, we got past the toolbox, and we have just sort of climbed the giant tree out in the yard and are just kind of starting that storyline.
Right.
Yeah, with the squirrels. Have you met the squirrels?
Yes, we got the weapons, and then that's kind of where we called it for the day on our last stream.
We found out about the squirrel wasp war going on.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember watching the trailer for the whole squirrel thing, and I was just like, "What the fuck is going on?" It's in that like Hideo Kojima sort of realm of this is very weird, but I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, it's definitely weirder and darker than we anticipated when we started.
Dory, how far have you gotten?
So it's funny that they mentioned that, because my partner and I just we're like almost to the boss of the tree level. We're close. We got caught up on a couple things. And so we've put in probably about like 3 hours or something around there. So yeah, we're really close to where Brian and Kel are. I've been having a blast with it. I did not expect to enjoy this game as much as I did. Definitely agree with Brian that it's got some real dark parts that I did not expect. Currently, our mission objective is questionable in terms of ethics. Not sure that I like what the main characters are getting advice from, but basically, like, it's really fun. Like, I think I was reading a review of it real quick, and I think like it was perfectly summarized by saying like the levels never outstay their welcome. I always feel like they're perfectly paced so that you get the core conceit, but you don't get tired of it. And some of these puzzles have taken me and my partner like a little bit to figure out. She also doesn't play a ton of video games, so this is tough for her because she's not a big platformer fan. She's more of like a mobile gamer and stuff like that, or playing like Spearfair and stuff like that. So which is totally fine, but it makes it a big 180 for her in terms of gameplay. So it's been challenging for her, but I've been trying to root for her while we're playing, because it can be challenging at times for sure. I will say that this is definitely a great couples game in that it will could absolutely ruin your relationship, because you could absolutely just start getting aggravated with each other, because one of you will die during a boss fight, and then you'll be like, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, I need to respawn, and then they'll die and you'll be like, what the hell? But it'll be worth it because this game is great.
Yeah, that fight against the toolbox, I think we switched off deaths like 10 times during that fight. It was one of us would die and the other one would be like running around to stay alive, and vice versa over and over again.
Yeah, I think I'm a little further than everyone else. I'm past the tree and into I think I'm at the end of the next sort of stage after that. It's doing some very interesting things, like hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler to say, like, the parents, like the two characters that you're playing as, they feel very self-centered at this point, like early in the game. Like they care more about, because obviously the story of the game is they've sort of been magically turned into these dolls, and they, like, it's very clear from the get-go to them that the reason, well, maybe it's not entirely clear to them, but the reason that they've been turned into these dolls is because of their daughter struggling with their inevitable divorce. And so there's this interesting sort of character thing that I expect to sort of develop throughout the story, where they sort of care more about sort of getting out of this situation that they're in, rather than sort of helping their daughter. So they're sort of willing to do some pretty not very nice stuff to sort of get out of that predicament. So, like, there's some interesting sort of character stuff at play there. I don't know if you guys picked up on any of that.
Yeah, we were talking about it when we were streaming, and I think we both feel like the worst possible ending for this game would be if they somehow end up reconciling and staying together. Like,
that wouldn't be
good. I don't know anything about the ending of this game, so hopefully, it doesn't get spoiled for me before I reach it. But that's like my biggest fear, is that they're going to be like, oh yeah, and because the daughter did this, now everything's fine. Like, they are not the best people in the world, and that's okay. You don't have to be, and you don't have to get along all the time. And so I'm hoping that it will be a more nuanced take than I'm worried it's going to be. So.
Yeah. I've also definitely gotten those vibes of, and I think the game is satirizing that through one of the main characters, Dr. Hakim, the book, and so I don't think they're going to do well. We can talk everything through, and because other games have tackled similar issues, and they've been able to say, no, that doesn't always work. Sometimes talking doesn't work. And Sea of Solitude did this, and they were able to make it, pretty abundantly clear that no, talking it through does not always work. Sometimes you can't talk your way out of problems. Some problems are too big to overcome, and it's just healthier to just, go your separate ways and try to become better people.
Dr. Hakim is evil, right?
He sure feels evil.
Yeah, that book is not a good dude.
He is chaotic evil, I think. He literally shut the door on them at one point when they were just about to reach Rose. So I definitely think he's evil.
Yeah,
Is it the mustache that gives it away, or?
Yeah, he twirls it on occasion.
I was gonna say that, James. Damn it.
Yeah, I love his energy though. He's very sort of present in the scene, if you want to put it in a word.
Big book energy.
Yeah, big book energy. But one thing that sort of that was immediately apparent to me playing it having gone back to A Way Out recently, which was Haze Light's previous game. Like there was a lot of issues with that game, specifically like mostly in the first half, where you've got the two characters that you're playing as doing different things, and you've got like you're having conversations with characters, and they're sort of talking over each other, and it can get a little bit messy like that. And there's some other issues in that vein that sort of make the game feel a little messy and not perfect. And it really feels like they've learned their lesson with all of that stuff and applied it to this game, because this game feels like a much smoother experience in that regard.
Yeah, we did have one moment in our stream, and it was just for like one cutscene where the main characters, Cody and May, their dialogue was fine, but the side characters, I think at that time it was the book and someone else was talking. I can't remember. Maybe the vacuum.
Okay.
But their dialogue had gotten delayed by like 3 or 4 seconds, and so they were talking over each other during that cutscene. Just like a minor glitch that happened in that one scene, and then it was fine again after that. But yeah, overall, it felt very smooth.
I found the platforming incredibly responsive, and I had this one moment where I felt like a fucking speedrunner or something. Like I jumped, and then I jumped again, and then I dashed forward, and I ignored the second platform that I was supposed to jump onto next, and I still made it. And I was just so hype. I was like, yeah, like I felt really great about my platforming skills in that moment. But there's definitely times in the game where I think it's easy to get frustrated. I think the game's biggest flaw is its biggest strength, which is true of just about any co-op game. It really depends on who you're playing it with, their knowledge of platformers. I've talked about this before, but my partner's not really used to platformers. And so some of the stuff that comes to me naturally doesn't come to her as naturally, which is totally understandable because that's all about muscle memory and stuff like that. But it can definitely make for situations where you're getting held up for longer than you feel like you should. But on the other hand, some of these challenges are just challenging. It's like they're little like mind thinkers. At least they were for me. I mean, I definitely had some struggles with a couple of the puzzles. So
Yeah. Yeah, like I really like how the gameplay sort of it messes around with some different stuff as well. Like they did a little bit of that in A Way Out, where there was the gameplay sort of changed up towards the end of the game. But in this, it feels like they're really sort of willing to play with the type of gameplay that the game has. Like in the general gameplay, like there's some stuff that deviates from platforming a little bit, but there's also those sort of mini games that you can do where you and your co-op partner can sort of battle it out in these challenges. And like there's a lot of really unique stuff in there, like everything from like fighting games to like one of them tank like battle games that them kind of games.
Yeah, I think Kel enjoyed the whack-a-mole a little too much.
Yeah.
She was enjoying it.
Yeah.
But
I actually really sucked at the whack-a-mole game. Like I couldn't hit. So I'm playing as May and Kim is playing as Cody, and I couldn't get her. Even like I got her a couple of times, but she easily beat me, and I didn't want to replay it because she was gonna just beat me again. So.
Yeah, I'm playing Cody and Kel's playing May, and we found that in that first section especially, like it seems like May is the slightly more difficult character because you have all that platforming stuff with the hammer, whereas I just got to kind of sit back and throw the nails at the dartboard. So
there's still like timing issues that you had to work with, which is kind of challenging.
Yeah, but it does feel, you're talking about how it never feels like one section gets too old. And I haven't played A Way Out, but this actually made me kind of think, and might be sacrilege to say this because it's put on such a pedestal, but it made me think a little bit of the Portal 2 co-op, where it's like every few levels they throw like kind of a new wrinkle at you that you have to deal with. And in terms of like communicating back and forth with a partner, it's the most I feel like I've had to do that in a game since I played that for the first time. So
yeah, I don't think it's unworthy of the Portal 2 comparison. Because, like, it's so far at least, it's a very strong game. But it's interesting you brought up the like the nails and the hammer and everything, because when I got to that level, I just started like throwing nails at my friend constantly, because if you throw the nails at your co-op partner, like it'll stop them for a second, and they have to like mash X to get up.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We didn't discover that.
No, we didn't do that. We were too nice to each.
Yeah, I guess I'm not a great co-op partner / romantic partner, but I definitely Kim and I tried that out at one point. I think she hit me by accident, and then I was like, oh no, I hit her by accident, and then she threw some nails at me, and I was like, really, Kim?
And that was the beginning of the death match.
That's right.
It is funny because you could, especially as Cody in that section, you can really troll your partner by just calling the nail back as they jump to it.
It's some fucking God of War 2018 shit too. It's like you just call the fucking nail. That's what the first thing I thought it was, God of War 2018. You're just calling your axe back, but it's a nail instead.
That is one of my favorite things about these Haze Light co-op games though, because you can do this to an extent in a way out as well, where you can just mess with your partner by just in this game, like you were saying, like calling the nail back as they're jumping, or because there's so many like puzzles that depend on everyone like both players working together, so you can just like stand on a button that you need to like extend a platform or something and say, oh yeah, on you go, and then as they're halfway across, just jump off and let them fall to the death.
That's what it makes me think of. It's James, you're gonna hate me. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. With the arrow that he uses to control with the whistling. Anyway.
Yeah. So I got that comparison as well. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, that's all my sort of thoughts on It Takes Two. Did anyone else have anything anything glaring they wanted to mention?
We're really enjoying it. We're going to be streaming it again on Saturdays, 4:00 Pacific. We've been doing a couple hours at a time, and we're going to keep that up. So if people are interested in it but aren't sure just yet, come check us out.
Where can people catch that?
That's just on the Real Draft Punks channel.
Yeah. Last couple of thoughts I'll say. I definitely think this game, I didn't expect this game to be as good as it was. I kind of bought it just because we were going to talk about it this week, and I was kind of interested to check it out. And I showed a trailer to Kim, and I was like, "Would you be interested in playing this?" And I didn't know what she was going to say, but she said, "Yeah." And we've been really enjoying it. We've definitely had some moments of frustration where we can't figure something out, or our teamwork isn't quite gelling. But honestly, this is a really good game so far. And if it keeps the pace that it's at, it might even be like, top 10 material for 2021. I know it's not saying a ton because delays and stuff, but it's still a really great game, and I did not expect it to be. So kudos to the devs on this one.
I was going to say I think it is my favorite game of the year so far, and I know it's only April, but there's been a good amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Well, relatively.
I was going to say, like, what games have come out? Oh, sorry.
Hitman 3 and I don't know. Shut up, Mitch.
but do you guys think it has a chance of being like a game of the year like contender, or is it gonna be like kind of like forgotten when the big games come out?
I think it'll probably be like at the Game Awards. We'll probably see it nominated in the best multiplayer game category, and it's kind of like when they give something foreign film of the year and then don't nominate it for best picture. I think it'll probably fall into that kind of category. It's going to win a lot of games for being multiplayer. But...
Yeah, it's definitely a best indie nomination.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, but It Takes Two. So thanks for joining us, Kel. Really appreciate it. So we're gonna jump now to a word from our sponsor. This episode of the PSPremiere Podcast is sponsored by It Takes Two.
It Takes Two is a new
all right.
Do you want to?
No, you go.
Cool. It Takes Two is a new co-op adventure from the creators of A Way Out. Team up with a friend in an app.
No, okay. I'll do this part?
You take it.
Alright, okay. Yeah. Team up with a friend in an epic journey to repair a broken relationship as Cody and May's separation sends them into a strange world of toys created by their daughter.
Available now.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, so the first news of the week is that the PlayStation Plus games for April have been revealed. Now, we already knew Oddworld Soulstorm was going to be one of them, but the other two are going to be Days Gone and Zombie Army 4 Dead War. Days Gone's a pretty good get. I mean, I say it's a get. It's not really a get because they own it, but it's a pretty good game for PlayStation Plus.
It's better for PS4 guys because if you have a PS5, you have the Plus collection. So in a way, it's kind of lazy, like for PS5 owners. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's a great.
But then at the same time, PlayStation 5 owners are getting Oddworld Soulstorm, and I don't think PlayStation 4 owners get that, do they?
No. But like they could have had another game. Sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, for sure.
I was going to say, then again, how many people are actually interested in Oddworld?
That was my question.
Yeah. Damn it, Seb.
I am. I love Oddworld.
I feel like I've been seeing trailers for that game for 3 years, and they just it gets less and less interesting to me every time I see it.
I think it was Marvel who put out a tweet a little while back, basically saying that the best thing about Oddworld finally coming out in April is the fact that we won't get any more trailers at PlayStation conferences.
Yeah.
Some respect on Abe. Come on, man. No, but putting this game on Plus was a really smart move because I want to play this game, but I didn't want to pay full price, and quite a while.
I'd say that's the category this game lands in, though. Like, it's a game that some people want to play, but they wouldn't pay full price for. At least
that's kind of where I'm at with Returnal too, but that's another topic.
I wonder at this point, after putting Destruction All Stars and now Oddworld Soulstorm, which I didn't think would be put in PS Plus, I really wonder if they'll do that with Returnal.
No, I doubt it. But
well, if it doesn't sell well, I guess I can see it. But I guess it depends.
Yeah.
Returnal will be like on the December.
It'll
come down the line. Yeah, I don't think it released. I think there's too much hype around that game.
But by then that game will be like $25 if you wait till December. So
yeah,
definitely.
And am I the only one that's excited to play Zombie Army 4? Because I actually wanted to play this, but
no, I'm mildly interested in it myself.
Yeah, I'm also mildly interested. I'll give it a shot. Probably.
I'm sleeping, y'all. I'm sleeping. None of these announcements impressed me or interested me in the slightest, and I'm actually kind of glad because I can keep focusing on my backlog. So
I mean, Dory, I've heard some rumors, Dory, about what May's PS Plus games have been, and I heard that they might be putting Shadow of the Tomb Raider 2 on for May PlayStation Plus games. So
I'm sure you'll have. I can't tell what's worse. James' Resident Evil 3 jokes or that Shadow of the Tomb Raider joke, but not joke, but reference.
I mean, at least Shadow of the Tomb Raider 2 would be better than Resident Evil 3.
No, James, you've gone too far.
No, but this is a solid month. Like Days Gone kind of sours it for me because I thought, I mean, it's a good game, but they could have added like another game to make it better for PS5 owners, but I guess I can't complain. We're gonna
I am mildly interested in Zombie Army 4, but I'm more interested in Oddworld Soulstorm, I think, because those are both games where it's like I don't have much of an interest in them, but I definitely try them out for free. But Oddworld more so. Yeah. Because Zombie Army is kind of like it's one of them franchises that's a bit bland, a bit sort of feels a bit vanilla. Like, it's a zombie shooter. Okay, another one.
It's like buggy, and you can tell it's not like it's like AA, it's not a AAA game.
Yeah,
it's like smaller in developer and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, in other news, there is an IGN exclusive Resident Evil 8 gameplay on the PS4 Pro. I think Dory and Seb, you guys have watched it. I don't know if Brian and Mitch have watched it.
I've managed to watch it in complete silence while we've been preparing for the podcast. But I guess I'll I'll just sort of go out the bat. I don't really have much to say about the gameplay, just because it's Resident Evil 8 gameplay. That's really all that's there. I can't really see much else to comment about, but I'm sure Dory and Seb will have something to say.
Dory, you can go first.
Yeah. So totally good. I don't know if the internet has made that clear at this point, but
and that's as far as Nivelle. I believe that's all the thoughts we need.
Okay, no, but I seriously do have things. So I did have a concern while watching this that I'm worried they're going to pull RE7 with lack of enemy diversity, because I saw two different skeletons, or three, and they're all very, very similar character models, similar types of ways to defeat them, just shoot them repeatedly in the head. So I am a little worried about, and I know it is largely a shooting game and all that kind of stuff, and I get that, but just lack of enemy variety in RE7 was one of those killers for me, especially towards the end where it just got rough. Like there was just no excuse at that point, because we were supposed to be revving up the tension, up the drama. And it was just like, hey, here's this enemy that you fought, like, I don't know, 5 hours ago, and is really not imposing at this point, and just sucked all the tension and horror out of and I still really like RE7, by the way, but that's a concern of mine.
Yeah, I totally agree. It looks like the same like skeleton as the molded, like they just put like a different you know what I'm talking about when they develop games.
Yeah.
It looks they basically just copied it. Yeah, same exact animation.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to quickly mention. I think I didn't really pick up on it really in this gameplay, but I think what this game really needs is something like RE4, or even in the Chris DLC for 7, where like if you shoot him in the head or something, then you can do like extra damage or whatever, like a kick or a fucking suplex.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something like that, like to actually give some strategy to the combat encounters, rather than just shooting them until they fall over and spawn cash or something.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell from this video if the gameplay is better, because I know the aiming in 7 was really hard. I didn't really care for it. It was way better in VR, but
it looks like it looks a bit smoother in this game, at least to me. Yeah.
But I will say, my favorite thing about this gameplay wasn't the gameplay; it was the graphics. I love this gothic aesthetic. I love like the way everything looks. The lighting looks terrific. It's just a very pretty game. And this was just PS4 Pro. I have a standard PS4, and I'm hoping to have a PS5 by then. But if I don't, I mean, this still looks like a stunning game.
It does.
I couldn't really tell that this was a PS4 Pro, honestly. Like if you told me this was a PS5 gameplay, I'd say it was PS5. I'd fully believe you there.
That's a good sign then.
The absolute wizards.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add. So,
yeah, tall lady.
There's nothing else really.
I'm excited. Day one, as always.
For sure.
Okay, Dory, you for some godforsaken reason wanted to talk about Hood, Outlaws, and Legends.
Yeah, I do. So I have been watching all of the IGN previews of each individual class over the past month. And so IGN has just released their final preview. I am unreasonably and probably unwarrantedly hyped for this game. It is probably the last game I expected to get hyped about. But the central conceit is that you get to rob the rich and the government. So I'm not saying that you should do that, in real life. Of course, I would never advocate for that. But in a video game, it's completely legal and fine. And so I'm just saying we should all buy this game and do a heist together. Also, I love heist games. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I do have actual things to say about it, but that's my opening pitch. Mitch, what were you want to say?
I was just gonna say, is it really legal in the game, because it's got Outlaws in the title, so
it's legal to do it in the game, is what I'm saying. Damn it.
He has a good point, Dory. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
I mean,
my elevator pitch is ruined. But no, so Hood Outlaws, I know we haven't talked about it a ton because there's really not a ton to talk about. But it's basically a heist game, and it's PvP, VEs, whatever acronyms. And basically, you are trying to go into this keep, stealthily or not. And you are also it's like a race against time with another set of players, and you are trying to get the gold before they do, and make your way back to your hideout or whatever. And you can do that stealthily, or you can do it not. There's a range of classes. So you have like a mystic, you have somebody who's a brawler, you have an archer, which is just Assassin's Creed. You have an assassin, who's just Assassin's Creed. So half the game might look a little familiar to Ubisoft fans, but I really feel like, weirdly, Sumo Digital, I think, is the dev behind this. The ones that did
Sackboy Adventure.
Sackboy: A Big Adventure. Has made this very dark and gritty game about
there is
stealing from the rich.
No, there is an explanation behind that though. Sumo is one of them studios that sort of works on a lot of what is the
Like
the
a
term?
backup studio?
What
Like
is the
a
term for
party
that though?
boil?
Like they've got a lot of pots on the boil.
Oh,
Is that it?
That sounds like a British UK.
They've got a
thing.
lot of cooks in the kitchen.
No, they don't
Cooks
have.
in the
I don't
oven?
know how many
Wait, no,
cooks they have. They probably have like one in-house chef at most. But no,
This
like
metaphor is falling apart.
it is. But basically, they work on a lot of different things with a lot of different publishers and studios. Like they're one of them studios that just like grabs an IP. They're like the go-to guys for, hey, we have this project like that we
Sure.
want, this side project we want to work on. Let's give it to these guys.
yeah.
So they work on a lot of different stuff.
They're a
basically.
second party developer. Yes.
I've basically heard this game being described as Assassin's Creed meets Payday, and what I also want to say is that the IGN preview, which I would check out if you're not sold on this game, and I totally get that, is very positive about it, and says that it looks very promising from the demo or the amount of hours they played. That PvP stuff got really wild, really fast, and it action felt very fluid and good. I'm not saying it's gonna win any storyline awards or voice acting. It's not going to the BAFTAs or the Game Awards or anything like that. But I'm really hype about this game anyway. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I just wanted to talk about it. You should go check out that IGN preview if you want to know more.
Yeah.
I will say that Focus Home is probably one of the best AA publishers at the moment. Like they've published things like A Plague Tale, and possibly Greedfall. Did they publish Greedfall?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Great. So yeah, Focus Home seems to have a good eye for this stuff. So that does bode well.
Yep.
Yeah, sure does. Yep.
Okay.
I've run out of things to say about this game. I'm looking forward to it, and I want to get a big party together and rob the rich. Thank you.
Great. So MLB The Show 21, the new one that's coming out. Sports games. Anyway,
What's a sport?
this is the baseball game published by Sony, made by San Diego Studio. Or usually a PlayStation. Up until this point, it has been a PlayStation exclusive. The news was broken last year, I believe, that it was going to be on other platforms, and we already saw the box. It's a weird thing to see an Xbox game case with PlayStation Studios in the corner, because San Diego Studio is a PlayStation is a Sony owned developer, but in further news to that, the game is coming to Xbox Game Pass on day one, which is, and if you've seen it, there was like a wee trailer for it as well, and they had like the Xbox logo pop up at the start of the thing that fades into the PlayStation Studios logo, and it's the most bizarre thing you'll see all week. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got confused when you said Wii trailer. I was like, I didn't realize it was coming out on that too. You'd think Switch maybe.
Very good. Very good.
But MLB The Show is probably the best sports simulator right now, simulation game by far. Like, Madden, they don't even try anymore, and NBA 2K has kind of fallen off in recent years. And this was huge for Sony because it always sells well, and it was exclusive to Sony. But I think MLB pressured them to put it on different consoles and put it on PC eventually. And so it's not a good look for Sony that one of their major exclusives is coming to Game Pass day one. Like, it's just bad optics right now. I mean, Sony's just having kind of a bad momentum right now. PS Now is kind of a mess, and they're charging $70 for new games, and I don't think, and we got to pay for online, which always sucks, but Xbox does that too. But like, it's just one thing after another for Sony right now. I know Jim Ryan is like he's making money for the company, but he's just like the face of bad corporatism right now. Like, they're not doing any pro consumer moves for their like their fans at all. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm totally neutral because I own every console, so I'm not. But Sony's just really been greedy the last couple months now.
I do want to know like the inside baseball behind this decision to put it on Game Pass. Thank you.
Oh my God.
In all seriousness, it would be interesting to know like how this decision was made. Because like was there talks with Sony? I mean, they own the studio, like they own the franchise, right? They own the studio.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. You go.
They have a license deal with the MLB, like NFL does with EA. So even though they own the IP or the studio to make them, if the MLB pushes them to make like put it on different platforms, they have I think they have the authority in their contract to force them to do so.
So we reckon like there might have been some sort of, maybe they were pressured to put it on Game Pass.
I don't know if they were pressured to put it on Game Pass, but I think Microsoft probably played a pretty penny to do that, but I'm not entirely sure. We don't have a lot of the facts yet.
Yeah,
but
my best guess would be that Microsoft really pushed to put it on Game Pass just as like a further twist of the knife to Sony. Like, not only are we getting your game, but we're going to give it away for free, essentially. Because if you have an Xbox and you don't have Game Pass at this point, like, what are you doing? So,
yeah,
exactly. It basically comes equipped with Game Pass.
Right.
Yeah,
so they're essentially giving away this game that they're going to try to sell for $70 on PlayStation. Yeah, that's tough.
Which is such a bizarre thing, because it's basically like they're saying the place to play MLB The Show, the PlayStation franchise, is on Xbox.
Yeah, it's very strange. Charging $70 for a sports game is just killer. I mean, I don't think they have microtransactions like the other sports games do, but I'm not sure.
They definitely do.
They really do? Okay.
Yeah. The card to make your team and
so even worse. So, but the thing is, sports games, you wait like 2 months and they go like already half off. So it's just I don't know how well this game's going to sell for $70. That was before Xbox bought it. So then buy it on Game Pass.
Yeah, so, I'm honestly surprised when this news dropped that we didn't also hear that it was going to be on PS Plus. Like, that would have been a great one to add to PS Plus this month, where you're talking about how the selection isn't that great. Like, that would have been the best way to combat the game going on Game Pass. But I think maybe they're worried about how much money they're losing.
They've done it before, not like when it first came out, but like they put in like a newer one.
Because Sony doesn't believe in day and date. Really, they've like Jim Ryan has actively spoken out against. Like, he said, like that's not what we do.
Yeah,
we wouldn't put our games day and date on a streaming service. Yada yada yada. So yeah.
I mean, this is like just right after like the whole like backwards compatibility issue, like getting rid of all the Vita and PS3 games. It's just one thing after another. I don't think that they really care as long as Jim Ryan's racking in the cash, but he's just horrendous at bad PR. Like it's been nothing but bad PR with him for the last ever since he took over. Honestly, I can't think of one like major like good thing that we've had yet besides like the PS5 launching. Like, it's just been one bad story after the next. And like I said, I'm totally neutral, so I'm gonna call Sony out if I feel they're being very anti-consumer, which I don't think they're doing a good job with their consumers right now.
I will say this in favor of Jim Ryan: strong 2 first name energy, right? Like just Jim and Ryan, really strong, like waspy energy. Just really, really going all in there and being a white guy. So good job, Jim Ryan.
Right. Well, if no one else has anything they really want to say about MLB
really.
The Show 21 on Game Pass, cool. Well, in that case, we have one more thing to discuss, and it's a big one. E3 2021 will be, and get this, a digital event.
What?
I mean,
I
what?
can't believe it.
Nobody
What?
saw it coming. Total
And
shocker.
free to attend.
Yeah.
It's behind a paywall.
But yeah, like this is nuts. So E3 now apparently, so E3 originally stood for Electronic Entertainment Expo. And now apparently they've changed it now because apparently they can do that. So now it stands for Electronic Entertainment Experience. So I mean this kind of feels like the future, right?
Yeah.
E3 is dead, y'all. It's
At
dead.
least they kept the E3 name. Like it would have sucked if they totally changed it. Because it would have just been.
That would have
confusing.
been stupid.
they-
That would have been the final nail in the coffin.
I think
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
if they
the final
changed
nail in
the
the
name,
coffin, honestly.
It's already in the dirt, honestly.
Yeah,
E3
it's in the dirt. We're honestly at that part where we're just kind of like we've put the shovel like dramatically into the dirt and we're just walking away. Like that's where we're at with E3 at this fucking point.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the final shot of the movie. I think
Yep.
I think this year with the digital gaming shows and events, I feel like they really need to step it up because for as much hype and effort supposedly was put into like the Summer of Gaming or Summer Games Fest, whatever it was called last year, barely anything really came out of it. Like it didn't feel like an event. It just felt like regular news cycle of games would occasionally get announced, but like it didn't feel like an event at all.
Yeah,
It
that
was
makes
all
me
over the
sad.
I could like it.
Yeah.
I need one like week just to focus on. When you have it like
Exactly.
3 months, like I didn't know what to watch. It would be on like 10 in the morning. Sometimes in the afternoon. I didn't know. It was just all over the place. I didn't know.
It didn't feel like an event because it was like, as you said, it was spread out over multiple months. So it just felt like, it didn't feel like an event. It just felt like regular news coming out, like, and nothing felt special really.
Yeah, you might as well. And it mostly was just like interviews with developers. You could have just like put a trailer on Twitter and called it a day. Honestly.
Exactly. Like the only two, I guess you could say, events or showcases that felt special were the Sony one and the Microsoft one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like music festivals where when you see the poster, it's got like hundreds of different acts on it, but you've only heard of 3 of them, and
Yep.
you end up stuck at like stage G because that's all there were tickets left for by the time you get there. Yeah, it was pretty disappointing overall, for sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
But I'm on a different opinion of James that I don't really care about big conferences anymore. Like I think E3 is a product of the 90s in the magazine era. I think nowadays you can just put a trailer on social media and have basically the same effect.
I'm kind of in between you and James. I at least like for the proper showcases, like whether it be digital or in person. Like I'm much more like just the the long hour event of just having.
Yeah. When they do it right, like when they have like a live orchestra, or like when they first revealed God of War, that's when it really shines. But most of the time, it's just like bland corporate, awkward guy on stage doesn't know what to do.
That's the best part.
Audio's off.
No, it's the worst.
James on this.
Like, I was saying to Rob the other day, like, if E3 never comes back to like live shows in the way that it's been in the past, I will, and it's starting to seem like that's going to be the case. I will genuinely be sad, like very sad, because, like, okay, you've got a week all in where you can take a few days off work, you get some snacks, get some beers, get some friends around, and just watch all these conferences, all these gaming. It's like, there's the excitement beforehand. Oh, what's it going to be? What's going to get announced? Like the speculation, and you get all of these conferences back to back, like 3 in the same day, and like 2 or 3 days, just bang, 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 and like you've got that, and then you get to watch the conferences, and there's the anticipation, and like usually they're not that boring. Like they're quite exciting, even if just because of the anticipation and the excitement, even if nothing gets announced that you're interested in, it's still usually a good time. And then, after that, you get to decompress and sort of, all this news, and you get to sort of say, okay, what did I miss? And like, let's talk about all of this. That's like, let's sort of, break all this down. And like, it's just this whole week of, it's like Christmas, where it's like Christmas morning, you wake up, you open all your presents, and it's like, well, as the older you get, the less presents you get. I guess that's kind of like a metaphor for E3.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I love E3 and I look forward to that every week. But it doesn't bother me if they do like a digital showcase and people have on stage and just by themselves or whatever, they can do it at their own pace and have a better show. I think.
Here's the thing,
though. The live audience that bothers me.
The thing is, Nintendo and maybe Sony as well, with like their big PS5 events, not the State of Plays, but the big PS5 ones, they've sort of maybe nailed the pre-recorded digital events. Like they've gotten that formula down, where the pacing is right and everything like that. And it doesn't feel like they're sort of wasting your time. It doesn't feel like they're like the Xbox ones where they're trying to have personality in there, but it just kind of feels like, this is a bit weird. But like, you just can't beat that sort of the feeling of it being live, because like when it's live, you've got like a crowd, you've got that crowd sort of reaction, you've got people like reacting to what's happening on stage, and you sort of feel more of a part of it, and you have got people screwing up. But that's the beauty of it. Like that thing with Need for Speed Payback, where they had that YouTuber guy, where he comes on stage and he screws up. Like that was I'm sure that sucked for him, but like I will remember that for the rest of my days. Like that was such a fun screw up. And you get so many of those.
So what did he do? Because I'm not aware of this. What happened?
So basically, he had he was going to be introducing Need for Speed Payback, but the camera turned on for him. Like his segment started earlier than he was expecting, so he wasn't ready for it. And the teleprompter was off and everything, and he hadn't rehearsed the script. So like at the start of the thing, like the camera turns on and they're like, "Hey, you're on," and he turns around quickly and he's like, "Hey guys," and he just starts stumbling over himself from there. He's like, "Hey, I'm here to talk about Need for Speed Payback," and he just forgets all his lines. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's a great game, yeah," and then he has to bring on another guy. Just one of the all-time greats of E3 screw-ups.
So see, my issue with this kind of stuff, James, is I get secondhand embarrassment way too strong. So I can't deal with segments like this. Like I'm glad other people enjoy them, but I can't do it.
Honestly, I feel bad. Like I don't even laugh.
I would just feel so sorry for him, and I'd be very angry at the people who messed it up for him.
Yeah. I think the best. I think the best like cringy E3 segments though, just like they've got to be the Ubisoft press conferences, like with the dancing Just Dance panda or whatnot.
I love that. I love that.
What about Peggle 2? Yeah, are we not going to talk about Peggle 2?
Peggle 2
What was the game? Is that the game when the guy did like uppercut?
Yes.
Yeah.
No one reacted to him doing that, right? It was dead silent or something, or I can't remember. Did people get excited? Like,
that was the best. That was the best part of it. He was expecting everyone to get so excited. He jumps up near Peggle 2, and it's just dead silence.
Oh, I feel bad.
What about to bring up another funny moment quickly? What about I think it was like a 2010 Konami press conference and like
that's the best.
That's iconic.
You just have the guy. It's like extreme.
that whole press conference though, like how can you have such an event where like every single thing that happens there is weird? You know,
everything that went wrong, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Exactly.
In that.
With all that said, though, like as much as the moments that are like funny or moments that stand out that are great, really are really great, right? But most of it really is not that great. Most of it is boring. We sit through it because we're just excited to see the next announcement. A lot of it is just press, guys talking about like how great their studio is. It's a dev diary. It's not really.
I guess I can understand, like, if you're sitting there watching it by yourself, that might be less enjoyable.
Friends, but like, I'm saying, like EA's conference always sucks. Ubisoft's conference is always a hit or miss. Like, most of them are usually not that great. Bethesda's, they're always have, they feel like the audience got paid to scream. I mean, it's not gonna be the case anymore because Microsoft owns them. But a lot of the conferences weren't that great. What we looked forward to was like Xbox and Nintendo and Sony. Like all the other ones were always mediocre, honestly.
That's the thing. It's like those 3 shows feel like they used to have this weight to them that almost felt like the Super Bowl of gaming every year, because there was like that pressure to perform, to deliver with the live crowd there and everything. And it's like the Super Bowl where the commercials are the best part, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I just think back to, I think it was like the 2013 one when they had the price announcement where PlayStation undersold Xbox by $100, and at the same time did the, you know, here's how you play a used game on PS4, and they're handing the disc to each other. Like moments like that where it's just like, oh my god, like dropping the gloves. Yeah, it's like you don't get a chance to see that too often from these giant companies. So I'm gonna miss stuff like that.
Yeah, like I said, the great moments are really great, but like I do think we romanticize the conferences a little too much now that we haven't had it in a couple of years. That like a lot of it was boring. A lot of things got criticism for all the time. Like we would rate EA's conference a 3 out of 10 like all the time.
Granted, I am quite easily amused, but like I maintain that like every time I would get together with my friends to watch E3, it was always the highlight of my entire year. Like better than Christmas, better than any other holiday. Like I'd even like I know it's like the secondhand embarrassment thing, but like E3 2016 as well, one of my personal favorites. There was this like small moment where like they had all those celebrities to come and play Battlefield, and they had Zac Efron. They had Zac Efron and Jamie Foxx.
I remember that.
And like just before they went to go and play, like the guy was interviewing them. He was really excited. He was like, "Are you guys excited to play Battlefield?" And they're just so not interested. They're just like, "Yeah, we're really excited."
I do remember that.
Oh, it's like for every Keanu, you're breathtaking moment, there's a Paul McCartney coming out to talk about Beatles rock band moment.
Exactly.
It's just, but don't get me wrong. Like Sony's E3 was always like the highlight. Like wow, like especially the last few years. I mean, the last one when they showed off The Last of Us Part 2, when they made the people get up like 3 times, and we had like intermissions. That was really stupid. That was really stupid. But other than that. That God of War and that one conference where they revealed Resident Evil 2 remake. Oh, that is the same one. What was the other one? No, when they revealed Final Fantasy 7 remake. Like that moment was special. What a crowd for sure. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Yeah,
but like I said,
go
ahead, Mitch.
No, I was gonna say you go. I'll basically just move on to another point. But yeah, you go.
Okay, I was gonna say like if God of War Ragnarok was like tomorrow, I'd be just as hyped as if I got a big conference and an hour show for it. Honestly,
that's the thing. Like I have to sort of draw a line and disagree with that, because if it was announced at a conference and it was a total surprise, and you've got like a trailer, there's a difference between watching a conference where you know there's going to be announcements, you don't know what it's going to be announcements of, and you have like a fade to black, and then God of War fades in, and it's like, holy shit, that's Kratos stepping out of the darkness there. But like, there's a difference between that and opening Twitter in the morning and seeing, oh, God of War Ragnarok trailer. You know?
I see what you're saying, but personally for me, I'd be doing cartwheels in my room if I woke up.
But like that's like, because when you're watching.
What?
Seb, can you even do cartwheels?
Yes, I'm not.
You want to show us?
Jesus.
No.
But no, like when you're watching a conference, like you're there in the moment, you're aware, like you're on edge, and you're ready, like you know something's gonna happen, you're alert, I'd like that feeds into the excitement for me at least. But like waking up, like just seeing it on Twitter.
No, I understand.
That's just like,
I'm not against it. Like if they brought that back, I'd be that. I just know that for the money they have to spend to put on these big shows, it's just easier to.
Definitely, like from a business standpoint, it makes sense for companies to stop supporting E3 because it doesn't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just personal for me that, like, it just doesn't bother me as much. Like, just give me a show, put it like in the same week, get me excited for that, and that's it. Like, I don't want, as long as they put everything in a week or 2 weeks, and it's not over like 5 months, I'm happy. So that's just where I stand. But,
okay.
Yeah.
There was. Sorry, Mitch.
Oh, so I was just gonna say, I think to sort of wrap this segment up, I think the one saving grace we have, like in terms of like press conferences and whatnot, would probably have to be the Game Awards. Like, even though it's an award show, it's probably the closest thing we have right now to a live event, essentially.
That's
where you've
why
got actual people on stage presenting and whatnot.
That's why I love Jeff Keighley. Like, he seems like the guy keeping live events alive. Like, he seems to really believe in live stage events, because I've seen him talk about it on like Twitter and stuff. Like, that he thinks that they are important, which is probably like, he's probably a big reason why we have stuff like Gamescom opening night live now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, did they say that it's not going to be live anymore? Like, you can still do live, like...
No, what I mean is like in-person events with a crowd, not pre-recorded, like a Nintendo Direct.
That's what I'm saying. Did they say they're not doing that ever again anywhere?
I imagine that like that's where the trend is heading. That's what every company seems to be doing now, because they can avoid the screw-ups and that kind of thing.
And
which
the
is
money cost and whatnot.
Yeah, which is the biggest loss for me, because I love them screw-ups.
I feel bad.
I've got good news about all the co-hosts you've got here. Lots of screw-ups here.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Wow, right as this video turns off. Timed perfectly.
Put that in the intro.
Yeah, but there was some other news to do with this as well, real quick. So apparently the ESA wants to partner with NVIDIA to deliver on-demand streamed game demos. And I know this is where this is the trend. Like, this is where people want to be able to get the game demos in their hands when they're watching from home. Be like, they don't, because historically E3 has been a press event where only the press get their hands on. The thing is, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be alone in this opinion, because like I know everyone wants to get their hands on the game and everything like that. I don't like the idea of pre-release event game demos, because I think I prefer the excitement of hearing someone else talk about a game and like that adding to my excitement for the game, rather than playing it for, because I feel like if I play a demo of the game myself before release, that extinguishes a little bit of the excitement, because I've sort of had a taste of it already, and I know I know what it's going to feel like.
I kind of agree with you there. Like, I was about to bring up a similar point where it's like, I don't know if it's just me being lazy or not, but I prefer the idea of, you know, at least back how it was a few years back with E3, how like you'd have, you know, like on stage demos or like demos in the press conferences and digital events and whatnot, like God of War or Spider-Man, like those type of games, like the big AAA games. Essentially, I'm perfectly content just like sort of watching footage online and having that excitement there.
Yeah, because like Red Dead Redemption 2, okay, one of my like one of those games where I was completely ridiculously excited, one of my most anticipated games before launch. I listened to so many podcasts when the previews for that came out, because I just wanted to hear people. I knew they were all going to have the same information. I just wanted to hear people talking about the game. I mean, I suppose it's a unique situation with that game as well, where they have all those environment systems and everything, so everyone was going to have a unique experience that I wanted to hear about. Yeah. But yeah, with that, like, I think I prefer that infinitely to being able to play that myself. Because I'm happy to just wait for the full game to release and be excited.
Yeah, I just hate multiplayer live demos where they do the fake gamer talk, like, "Come on, guys, defend the corner."
I love it so much.
I cringe so much.
But it's so good.
Especially E3, EA's conference. Oh my god, I'm like, please make it stop.
Oh man,
yeah.
I know everyone acts like they hate that stuff, but I feel like on some level, everyone must love it.
No,
I don't.
Love is a strong word, but
no, those are the worst parts of the show for me. Especially if it's like they're showing a mobile game on stage. I'm like, oh
mobile games on stage, I'm like, okay, maybe not, but like when they're doing like a live multiplayer demo, and they're all like the Rainbow Six Siege one where it's all actors and it's pre-rehearsed and everything. I think that's so funny. I think like that's not how people talk.
What was that game?
The Division, wasn't it?
Yeah, Division.
They did it with Rainbow Six Siege and The Division.
Yeah, and then Command and Conquer when they showed it at EA, I was like, oh my god.
Oh no.
I was like, kill me. I wanted to die at that moment.
But like, it's so. The Sea of Thieves as well. I think that was the worst one for me. That was the one where I had the most trouble watching it, and I was like, "Oh God, what is this?" But even then, I was enjoying it. Like, it had my attention.
I'm not gonna miss that. I ain't gonna lie to you.
All right.
I hate that.
Maybe I'm just nostalgic. Maybe I just don't like change. But yeah, apparently, like it's also going to be free for all attendees. There's what the ESA, which is the trade association behind E3 has officially said is that it's E3 2021 is going to be free for all attendees, but they could still charge. This isn't what they said anymore, by the way. This is from the report from it was VGA. VGC was the one that reported on this, and they said that they could still charge for some kind of premium access, so like early access to demos and that kind of thing. I'm pretty sure they won't do that though, because nobody likes that idea. So yeah. Anyway, we've talked about E3 enough. I like reminiscing about E3.
At least
that's always fun.
At least not like Blizzard where they charge you like $70 to watch the.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll move on promptly to this week's community question, which comes from Chris from the Hello Hyrule podcast, who was on last week. So Chris asks, "Hey gang, with the news of the PS3 and Vita store closing down in a few months, what would each of you say are your must-have classic games from the PS1/PS2 era available in those shops that people should grab?" Anyone wanna?
I think it. I'll start. I think it goes without saying that the Resident Evil trilogy, like the original trilogy, has to be on that list without a doubt. Yeah.
Can you can't get those physically, can you? Like for the PS3?
Not for the PS3, I don't think.
No. You can only get it on the PS1 on the PS2, so that's as far as you.
That is the thing, like.
Or the Vita.
Like these, because with the PS3 store closing down, you're not going to be able to play like PS1 and PS2 games on there anymore. Because they have backwards compatibility for PS1, but PS2 games.
Yeah, I mean, people hack the Vita. Maybe they can still they can still play those games that way, but I'm not sure.
Yeah but I don't know, like stuff like did they ever bring like Bully and stuff?
No, Bully's on PS4, so that you can play PS4. That easy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they remastered that or something. They brought it over.
Yeah. I think it's on PS Now too. I'm not sure though, but it's always on sale. Yeah, like I mean, it's obviously like it's a hard one. I have to look up the games, but like like anything like PS1, you don't really get anymore. Like they just kind of gave up on the franchise, like Gex and Siphon Filter and Legacy of Kain and.
Do they have Silent Hill on PS4, like the original, or I don't think they do.
No, they don't. The PS1 is only available on PS1 Classics, I think. I'm not sure if it is though. Let me check. Anyway,
I don't know.
But you can get Silent Hill 2 and 3 on PS Now and stream it, so you can do that.
Yeah, well, I don't have PS Now because Australia is Australia, so.
That's true.
All them creepy crawlies and no games.
I mean, then you got like Final Fantasy 5 and 6, and I think Chrono Cross was on there, and Spec Ops, and God, there's a lot of them, like Twisted Metal.
Spec Ops. Did you ever play Spec Ops?
The original.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I did.
Was it any good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't have really fond memories of it. I think it's just military shooter game. Yeah. I think Call of Duty kind of easily replaced it though. That's why it died.
Thing is, apparently there's 2,200 games across these digital stores that they're closing down. They're only available on those digital stores that will be lost forever.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is, I imagine like there might come a time at some point later down the line, for me at least, when someone's going to say, hey, did you ever play that really cool game on PS3? That was like that really cool indie game on PS3. And I'm going to say no. And they're going to say, oh, you should play it. And I won't be able to because it'll be gone.
Yeah. You know, like, I know last week we said, like, it's probably no chance of them doing something new with these games. But something's been telling me this week that, like, they're up to something. I don't know what it is. I just have this feeling, like, we're going to get some service in some way. I just don't think, like, this is... that they're just totally okay with this bad optics of just like shutting down 20,000 like over 20,000 games or anything like that. I could be just being optimistic, but I just got this feeling that they're up to something.
Yeah.
I think you're being. I reckon you're being optimistic. I don't think.
Maybe, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just am, but I hope so.
I think the direction Sony or like PlayStation at least seems to be going in these recent months is very like focusing on the future, like sort of disregarding the past, focusing on the future. So I don't see anything happening, but I don't know. I mean, optimistically speaking, maybe there'll be like some emulator software that'll come to, I don't know, like PS5, kind of like what Switch Online has, maybe. But that's like a big
scenario. We get one of those retro consoles or something like that, retro mini consoles that has a really limited, like, best of the best games that work on it, and then people hack it and then play anything on it.
Yeah, that would sell out like hotcakes.
You know what I don't
honestly,
understand?
if
Like,
Sony does that.
Yeah, you know what I don't understand though? Like I can understand PS3, but like, why can't PS1 play on PS4? Is there like a architecture problem for that, or they just don't care? Is there a reason for
probably
that?
the
They
latter.
don't care. They don't care.
They just don't care. Yeah,
They just don't care.
because like I would love PS1 games with trophy support. I would be in heaven.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Well,
I can't wait to beat the final boss in Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories in like 3 turns.
Oh,
and then just
wow, that takes me back.
you know what it is, Seb? PS1 discs are blue, right?
Yeah.
And all they care about is green.
All right.
Well, that's
feel
it
like you
for
can compare
this
that
week's
in
PS Premiere.
All right.
Thanks for everybody could join us. Thanks for coming, Brian.
But wait, we have one last thing. Back at the box trivia. So, Brian, are you familiar with how this works?
Yes, in a general sense.
Damn it, you're supposed to say no so I can explain it to the audience.
No idea. Which part of the box are you reading?
Thank you. So basically how this works is Mitch is going to read us the description from the back of a few game boxes. And he's going to... and the internet. And he's going to... he's going to blank out some of the important information like character names and places that could give it away. And we basically have to guess what the game is. It's that simple.
How do we vote then?
I think
I think you just say whatever you feel like
the
it
answer,
is, and then
yeah.
I'll just say yes and no until we get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got 10 cases here. The first 5 I have are some obscure ones, some not so obscure ones, and then the other 5 I have, which I guess we'll see how we go, which is I'll call the bonus round. They've got some very, very obscure ones in there, so I'm looking forward to see how you guys go on that. We'll start off with the first one though. So we have Revenge Solves Everything. Experience the definitive blank collection. Seek revenge as blank or redemption as blank. Nope. In this complete compilation of blank, winner of 100 plus Game of the Year awards and its additional content. Pursue your enemies under the cover of darkness or ruthlessly attack them head on. Your actions will ultimately determine the fate of blank. No. Of Ghost of Tsushima.
No, so it's like it's a revenge. It's a game about revenge, but it's like didn't you say it was like a trilogy?
Franchise.
It's the complete compilation of this game's content.
Oh,
I was gonna say God of War, but then you said like stealth, so I don't think it's
Red Dead Redemption Game of the Year.
No, well, yes, but no.
Yes, but no.
Red Dead Redemption 2 Game of the Year.
Well, Red Dead Redemption is a Game of the Year, but it's not the game. No.
Oh.
No. So no. Sorry, no to that.
It's confusing me. Come on.
That's his tactic, James.
I need you to read it again.
Yeah.
Like a little.
Okay.
Or is there any more information?
Okay. I'll remastered high definition graphics. Will Colvin of News.com has called it spectacular.
News.com. Good for them for getting that domain.
It's a PS4 game. I'll put it that way.
All right. Do you want to read us the description again?
Sure. So, revenge solves everything. Experience the definitive blank collection. Seek revenge as blank or redemption as blank in this complete compilation of blank, winner of 100 plus Game of the Year awards and its additional content. Where am I? Pursue your enemies under the cover of darkness or ruthlessly attack them head on. Your actions will ultimately determine. Dishonored, yes, it is Dishonored.
I almost said Dishonored earlier, but then I forgot about it.
I was about to say, what's that game called? That ninja game, Ninja Gaiden.
It's not on PS4 yet.
I guess.
Okay.
All right. So, yep, I'll move on to the next game now. Dive headfirst into a dystopian world devoid of society, law, and order. Blank brings together two studio powerhouses. Blank, masters of open world insanity.
Rage 2.
And Blank. Yes. Rage 2.
Thank you.
Wow.
The two studio powerhouses thing gave it away. Avalanche and Ed.
This is very Bethesda heavy. You know, there's a
Oh yeah,
PlayStation
it is. I didn't even realize that.
that.
Okay, well, this is much more sort of PlayStation oriented. This one. So we have this is a complete sort of 180 in tone from the last one. Your imagination to the rescue. Fire up your creativity and to join Blank and his amazing new pals on a wild adventure to save the citizens of
I was about to say Concrete Genie.
Little Big
Concrete Genie?
No, it's not. It's
Little
him
Big
and his pals. It's not Concrete Genie.
Seb gets it. Little Big Planet 3.
Yeah.
Little Big Planet 3.
Well, he does have pals.
Yeah.
I obviously haven't played far enough into that game.
Apparently not.
Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna read out like the big tagline that I had because that will just give it away instantly.
Okay, but quick, what was the tagline, real quick?
I'm not gonna. Okay. Step into Blank and experience a new galaxy of physical gameplay. Pilot a Blank, even become the ultimate Blank, and enjoy more adventures by yourself or with friends.
Star Fox.
No. No. I'll keep going if you want. There's a few more little tidbits.
Yeah.
Okay. Stomp, roar, grab, and throw Blank as a powerful Blank monster. Speed past rivals to become a Blank champion.
It's Evolve.
Dance. No, not Evolve. Dance for your life as you entertain Blank and other characters.
Star Wars Connect.
Yes. Star Wars Connect.
Oh, come on!
What? So we can do non-PlayStation games?
I'm so low.
Well,
I guess I have.
I can't blame him.
I have.
I
Okay.
can't blame him.
I didn't know we could
I
do
was-
Yeah, sorry.
I was kind of hoping that James would get it, seeing as he had it on his list of
Yeah.
definitive Xbox titles.
So when I was editing the episode, I mentioned to James how much I enjoyed his first pick, and he messaged back. Was my first pick again? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never played that
I-
game, so
No, you haven't. I haven't. Okay.
Yeah,
We're back to PlayStation now with this one. So we have Blank. The adventure continues with all new characters and far out locations never seen before. Play as a team of 4 through a variety of twisted journeys. Switch between Blank and 9 of his pals, each with their own powers. Interact with totally new characters and locations. Test your skills in mini quests created for each character. I don't even remember that part of the game, honestly. But anyways,
Fantasy 15.
no.
Yeah, you said 9 people, I think.
I was gonna say
maybe you get
Lawbreakers,
other
but I don't think they're pals. Those
No.
guys.
No.
Read me again, would you?
Sure. Blank, the adventure continues with all new characters and far out locations never seen before. Play as a team of 4 through a variety of twisted journeys. Switch between, I was about to say the name, Blank and 9 of his pals, each with their own powers. Interact with totally new characters and locations. Test your skills in mini quests created for each character. Honestly,
Is it
this
Mortal
is a tough one
Kombat?
for you guys.
Mortal Kombat 10?
No. No, far from it. Far from it.
Because it's like, okay, what I'm getting is it's a sequel with 4-player co-op, with 9 characters with different campaigns.
Persona 5.
Game?
No. All right, I'll say this. It's the PlayStation 2 game.
Oh, okay. I have no idea.
Sonic Heroes.
No, not Sonic Heroes.
I was gonna say Sonic, but
I'll just say this: the back of the box saying "play through a variety of twisted journeys" does not really reflect the tone of the game at all. I'll say that.
Okay.
doesn't really help though.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm stumped, Mitch.
I don't think any of us are gonna get this one.
Is there
Okay,
more information to go from? Because I'm determined here.
let me have a look. It's rated G.
That doesn't help.
Nothing.
We don't have
nothing.
that.
Okay. Shrek 2.
Shrek 2, damn it!
Oh, James, I never even played Shrek 2. James should have got that. Shame.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in you, James. With,
God damn it.
2 in a row, which I expected you to get, and yet nothing.
So you're saying this is rigged?
Clearly not.
Wow, James can't even win a rigged game. Wow.
Alright.
All right, we'll do a few more. I'll go for the easy
Please give me a
ones out of
chance
these
to redeem
ones.
myself.
Sure. All right. An epic battle for survival. The darkest hours are upon you in a valiant clash to survive the final days of blank. Thousands of options to customize your very own blank character with an extensive multiplayer mode.
Crickets. Anything else?
It is an early 2010s game. I'll say that. It's also based off of a very popular brand.
Read it again.
I don't.
Okay. An epic battle for survival. The darkest hours are upon you in a valiant clash to survive the final days of blank. Thousands of options to customize your very own blank character with an extensive multiplayer mode.
Monster Energy drink the game.
No, not quite.
I feel like I'm gonna hit myself when I hear what this is, because this
maybe.
Think
feels
of a
like
game
some...
think of a game James likes. Resistance 3.
Not Resistance 3. This might give it away, but I'll say it anyways. Activision published it. So early 2010s.
Activision
shooter.
publishes a lot of things.
Yeah,
Perhaps,
that's not really.
Perhaps, but it's. Oh yeah, okay. I got. I guess brand.
Yeah, you know the game with the controller and
Yeah. It's a brand that has a lot of merchandise behind it, and a few movies.
It's not Destiny, is it?
Activision.
No.
Transformers?
Which one?
War for Cybertron?
No, the PS3 one, I think. What was the?
I don't know which is which.
I don't know the names of any.
Okay.
Revenge of the Fallen?
I would just give it to him.
No, Fall of Cybertron.
Cybertron. Yeah, that was the PS3
Yeah,
one.
so he gets it. Yeah.
Okay.
That was. Okay. This will be my last one, seeing as I think the others are a bit probably too out there, and this itself is probably out there. I'll be surprised if any of you guys get this. It'd make it easy for you. Welcome to Mayhem. Agents switch between 12 anti-heroes, each with their own twisted personalities, and that's just the good guys. Open world, handcrafted open world with more fun per square mile than Vegas. We most definitely have soul. Mayhem, mature violence, ludicrous themes, and irreverent humor and pop culture parodies.
Borderlands 2.
No.
Borderlands.
Not Borderlands.
You know what I
Not
get from this
Borderlands.
game is like I have like my taste in games is so opposite of you. Like I don't play anything. That's all I get from this game.
It's not Killer
alright,
7, right? It's not Killer 7.
No,
No.
That's only 7, not 12.
it's a spin-off game from a I want to say fairly well-known and beloved open world series.
It's like you're describing Borderlands, huh?
Yeah, that sounds great.
How-
Borderlands.
Since when was there a okay?
Just Cause 3 or 4?
Not quite.
They like the humor on the back of the box there. Okay, Just Cause
Not
2.
quite.
No,
Mercenaries.
not Just Caused. No,
Mercenaries.
not Mercenaries. How do I put this? It's published by Deep Silver. If that means anything to anyone.
Nope.
Agents of Mayhem.
Yes.
Boom.
Wow.
This is rigged.
What the fuck?
I've never played it.
I haven't played a single game you've decided Little Big Planet.
Like I've never played it, but like that humor is very Saints
No.
Row and Deep Silver.
Mm,
Dead giveaway.
yes. I was kind of hoping that someone would get Agents of Mayhem, which you did, thankfully, James. So
You're very welcome.
yes. So I believe from memory, how many points do we have? We have, is it 2 for James and
2 for me.
2? Yep. Okay. And then how many did you get, Rob or Bob? Sorry,
Brian.
Brian.
Brian. Fuck,
Wrong punk.
Yeah. Brian.
I think I got 3. I don't know.
I think Brian won.
I think it's 3.
I think
2. I don't know if Dory got any, and I got
didn't get
1.
any.
I don't think you
No.
guys. No, I don't think you guys got any, unfortunately.
Yeah, Brian got 3. James got 2. Dory has 0. I got 1. I think that's how it went.
Right. Because you got Little Big Planet, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Congratulations, Brian.
You'll be leaving a
Congratulations,
champion.
you won.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you
win
feel?
nothing.
You win the
I feel tired, a little hungry, but proud.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what we aim
Well,
for.
I've
on
got,
this
I've got good
podcast.
news. I've got good news for you, Brian. We're done. We're donezo.
I gotta go
Yep.
after this. So.
Yeah. no.
Actually, you're wrong, Dory. We've got one more segment. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No, we are done. So, Brian, thanks for joining us. Do you want to plug anything or anyone, or tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, sure. One more time. Yeah. Draft Punks on any podcast app of your choice. Real Draft Punks on any social media platform of your choice. We'd love it if you came and checked out our content. It's a lot of fun. We've had most of the cast and crew of this show on there at some point. We got, I think, just Seb left to get over there. So, yeah, come check us out.
Great. If you need a gateway as well, check out the bonus episode of our podcast, which was, I don't mind telling you because it's April 3rd when we were just now. No, it'll be April 4th when I upload this. That was an April Fool's joke, and it was the Draft Punks on the episode. So
Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed?
who could have guessed?
No one.
So yeah, check that out. Check out Draft Punks. And also, if you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to subscribe to our channel on YouTube for more content like this. Subscribe to the podcast feed so you can get more of these podcasts when we upload them. And give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or whatever other podcast app you use that has a rating system. So thanks again, Brian, for joining us. Thanks everyone else for joining me. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
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 I'm waving.
Arrivederci.
I'm waving. We believe you, Mitch.
Well,
Shall I say what the other 3 I had on the back burner were? Which, I mean, I realized about 3 picks in that none of you guys would have ever gotten remotely.
Just save them for next time.
No, like I'm serious. You guys would not get them at all.
No,
Just list off the titles now.
You'll be surprised.
Okay, would any of you have gotten Disney's G-Force?
Jesus.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yep.